Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and occasionally other toy lines as well. This is episode 105, which is really exciting for reasons I'm not quite sure of right now, but it feels like it is anyway. So my name is Sixo, but more on that later because I've got my lovely co-hosts as ever. We've got the one and only Liam from Toybox Soapbox.
What ho?
There he is. How you doing?
Good. Ready for the micro chat.
Good. Excellent. I'm pleased about that. So we love a bit of Micromaster around here, don't we, Liam?
Yeah. Most incredible micros of all.
They are indeed, yeah. Nothing else quite like them. And we've also got Mr. Jason of J-Swags. You're a fan of a Micromaster every so often, aren't you?
I am. I do like a small bot, a small car.
Except for you, they're even smaller, I'm guessing?
They are very
Like
tiny.
comparatively? Like
Yeah.
they must look really tiny.
And when I pick them up, it is they get smaller. They miniaturize in my hands.
Is that right?
That's exactly what happens, yeah. Do they come in collections of 5, like the other ones?
No.
Is that a thing? Oh.
That's the classic Micro Machines advert.
Yeah,
Micro Machines come in collections of 5
I
for
love
that guy.
advert. Yeah.
But Micro Masters come in collections of 4.
Oh,
That's how
so
you
close.
differentiate them. you
Yeah,
see.
okay.
Just
Good
that.
to know. Right,
Yeah.
excellent. Okay, right. I
Yeah.
have got the right reference then. So yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
excited for this one because I now have experience of these little guys.
Yeah.
What do you mean now? Did you not have them to start with? These are the best Transformers. Did you not
No.
have these when you were like
No.
43?
He's
in
he was
Well,
too
1999?
old,
The problem is
yeah.
I was 43. Exactly. So
He had a mortgage to pay off.
No, wait. Yeah, I probably was 43. No, when did I get these off of Andy, one of our patrons? I was 46. Don't ask me about age and time, guys. You know what happens here,
Wow.
right? You know?
In 1989, though, when they
Yeah,
came
obviously. Yeah. Oh,
Well, that's what we're
1989. How old was I then?
out. Don't say.
Okay, I won't say.
We haven't got time for that kind of maths.
I know,
honestly.
look at the maths. Yeah. No. Move along.
Life
Move
events.
along.
Yeah, let's move on
Get
swiftly.
your abacus out.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Well, that is it. We are doing specifically the 1989 Micromasters tonight. Now, long-term viewers will know that we have, since the very beginning of this podcast, been doing like Transformers by year. So we've done 84, 85. We did 2 rounds of 86 because we did movie toys and non-movie toys. We did 87, we did 88, and we got Maz back on for that as well. And now we're up to 1989. And we did think about how best to do this, and we kind of decided that it made sense to kind of split the line, if you will, split the year, because there's lots of pretenders this year, and they deserve a bit of focus, and there's lots of Micromasters as well. And there is tons to say about these guys. And we have done a bit of a mini-sode on some of the bases and stations before, which was on our Patreon, which patrons can obviously listen to
We
right
did.
now, but we did. That was a rather fun chat by itself, but we will kind of recover some of that tonight as well and just kind of go through everything really, what Micromasters were all about and why, as you said, Liam, quite rightly, they're some of the best Transformers of all time, I think.
They are the best. They're the most fun. There's so many different varieties. It's like Heinz, isn't it? They're
Yeah.
just put in Micromaster form. So Micromasters only really exist because of Micro Machines. Like this, as is the style of the time, everything follows certain trends, doesn't it? And in 1989, that's Micro Machines. And this is
Yeah.
flagged in the advert with the most incredible micros of all, because that's a direct shot at Micromasters, isn't it? Micro
Oh,
Machines.
very
I
definitely.
never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's quite
that's
cool.
because they are trying to muscle in on that territory. And it's funny because when you think of Micromasters, you just, I don't know, in my mind, like for years, I just always remembered them being the size of Micro Machines. But
Yeah.
they're not. They're way bigger.
The
They're
way
bigger, yeah, way
Yeah.
bigger.
But
Yeah.
Micro Machines
Yeah.
were huge, like in terms of popularity. There was like this whole couple of year period where just Micro Machines seemed to be everywhere and everybody seemed to have them in some
Yeah.
shape or form. There were knockoffs and every other toy line seemed to then want to copy it. Everything was miniaturized. Like you had Mighty Max came along from Bluebird, but you also had stuff like even as far as 1995, like Batman Forever and stuff like that. They were doing like
Yeah, they were
little
doing
play
little
sets.
cars and play sets and stuff,
yeah,
weren't they?
like
And-
the micro figures, but you would have like Star Wars, in
Yeah, Star
Action
Wars
Fleet,
ones. That's right.
which
yeah.
was Micro Machines, which would then become owned by Hasbro, which is the kind of the circle.
The full
kind of
circle
here.
is complete. Yeah.
the circle
Yeah.
of life, yeah.
It's funny. I still own my Micro Machines from when I was a kid as well, and it was the first time that I was aware of knockoff versions of toys as well, because you got the knockoff ones had slightly loose axles and they were just a little bit. They rolled better actually than the
Yeah.
Micro Machines,
Oh, right.
but they were such a great toy. You know, like that. You know, that advert you mentioned as well, Liam. that is
Micro Machines
instilled
Coming
in
Collections
my
of
brain.
5!
Yeah,
That guy.
Micro Machines Coming Collection 5, Micro Machines Coming Collection 5. You know, it was that rapid, you know, it was like
But it
brilliant.
always
advertising.
reinforced it. It's clever.
It did.
It's really
it was
clever.
so good.
So
and that's
clever.
what you did. And you'd be going in and buying, I'm going to buy the monster set, or I'm going to buy the ambulances and the police cars and all that stuff. It was so good. And it's funny that I didn't actually then get into Micromasters because because they were out at the same time, but maybe it was just that's where my brain went. I don't know. It's I don't know what Jason of that age was thinking.
Fair to say that Transformers at this point was on the wane as well. I mean, we've still got 2 years of Transformers in North America anyway, and of course it did go on for, it kept going on in Europe and everywhere else. But, Generation 1, quote unquote, what most people think of as Generation 1 ends in 1990. Not for us, admittedly, it did go on, but this is the penultimate big year of Transformers ultimately, and it is going down at this point. It's past its heyday. It's past the sort of 86 big peak of it all. And also, when you think about it, the line is 5 going on 6 years old at this point, so it's that is a considerable amount of time for any toy line in the 80s, and Transformers had staying power. But I think this was really, I think you've said this before, Liam, and I've always agreed with it. This was really, in my mind, the one, or certainly the most obvious time that Transformers looked elsewhere for inspiration, like it copied something else so obviously. Like, it's done it elsewhere as well. You've seen influences in there throughout the years, but this for me was so unashamedly just like a complete carbon copy of something else.
Totally,
incredibly so.
This is the first time where it really tries to reinvent itself, and I suppose there's a time crunch there, isn't it? Like when you work out when these would have had to go in development, it would have been sort of 88, 87-ish, I suppose. They would have been starting on this because that's when Micro Machines were really at their massive height.
They can't have hung about. They must have been like, oof, this is popular.
That's what
Let's
I mean.
Get on
so
it.
like this for them is like when you realize how the proximity to when the main G1 stuff was still coming out to when they were starting to think of this stuff, and you're like, this is when they had to look at it and go, hang on lads, so something's coming here that's probably not going to like. we better look at doing something different, because it is like, this is a completely different focus for Transformers. It's away from any of the sort of toys you expected before, whether it was the Diaclone era stuff, which was kind of intricate and a little bit more fragile, but it felt like a model car turned into a robot, or the bigger stuff of the Target Masters, which felt like big plastic play school toys almost, with the amount of plastic involved and ratchets. And then suddenly it shrinks down to this. It's another level of, okay, pocket money toys. Let's really, really, really go in on that Minibot style, Scramble City that kind of toy, that the little toys that are inexpensive and not very intricate, but still pretty detailed and fun. And that the fun with them wasn't the transformations, it was the collections, wasn't it? They
very much so
nailed, or honed in, should I say, more than anything, on that Micro Machines thing of teams. Like cars all had every pack had a theme, like you said, Jason. It was like emergency vehicles or hot rods or
planes,
spaceships, or everything was a theme. And then they obviously looked at that, and that's like what you were saying there. It's so obvious what they were doing, and it's mad that you get 4 rather than 5, which makes sense because they're bigger and they transform. But it's like that whole advert was so reinforced the collections of 5. And then it's funny because when Hasbro did bring Micro Machines back recently, they came in collections of 3 and 4.
Yeah, they did. No, they missed the beat there.
But they were more expensive.
Totally. Didn't quite
comes
work
in collections of 3 or 4. It doesn't have quite the same ring to it, does it?
No.
3 or 4, totally.
Size may vary. But this is what I love about Micromasters is it felt like such a break and such a difference, because we were all aware. We spoke about this before. Like, we were aware of the change from the 84, 85 to 86. There's the toys. The toys just change all of a sudden. It's then the Diaclone stuff is gone and it's bigger, more plasticky, better, worse, whatever. But it's different. This is something altogether different. This is like a whole different thing, and it felt it then. Like the other ones, you felt the change, but you still felt it was Transformers carrying on. There was something about this that felt really divorced from Transformers at the time.
It did. It was as much of a jump again as I would say 84, 85 to 86, 87. You know, it was kind of it was that step change again of like a complete reset almost. And I think you also see that not just in the scale downsize, you know, and obviously smaller toys, all of that, But I think there's two other key things that differentiate it for me, and also make it very Micro Machines, clearly like inspired by, Number one is there are no animals or anything like that, no beast modes of any kind. They're all cars, all vehicles. That's it, like exclusively across the board. And I know that doesn't sound like such a big point, but when you think about where Transformers was at in the prior year, you got Pretenders, Beasts. It's all like quite animalistic or ferocious or whatever else, and a few spaceships and things like this. This was like earthen vehicles and stuff coming back in, and that made it feel very Micro Machines.
It's almost all realistic vehicles as well. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing. There's no like Technobots or there's nothing sci-fi. It's reeled back.
Really
into,
not.
Suddenly normal cars, but normal military vehicles.
Normal.
Even even Countdown, the base. The Countdown Micromaster is a moon buggy, isn't it? It's not
exactly.
It's not like some kind of space car.
It's not like some futuristic, sci-fi thing. Yeah. And that's the other one is the bases, which were so Micro Machines.
Yes.
They totally were.
The bases and stations.
It was
the bases and stations.
Like the thing about the Micro Machines that I loved. There was one that I had, which was the Quarry that came with a little orange truck. I still have that little truck. I love it.
Man!
But I just have such fond memories of that. And you could open it up and store them inside it and close it up. And then you've got like Grease Pit coming out for like Micromasters, but that comes with a big monster truck, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Grease Pit is the
he's the monster truck. That's right. Of course.
That's the same with Countdown, isn't it? Countdown
it is,
and the rocket base.
All
like that. But
Countdown is the creator, not the monster. It's that kind of thing.
Countdown Stein.
Exactly.
But even in the name in there, the stations part is so Micro Machines more than Transformers. That's the stations. That feels more like they're trying to point you in the direction of real world, like Micro Machines did. Because you had like the pit stops, but you'd have the stuff like the toolbox. You remember? Or
I always wanted that. I coveted
that.
that.
I loved all of this. Yeah.
That was their bread and butter, and that's what Transformers stole.
They even looked at doing some of that. I mean, I don't know if you've seen. We're kind of jumping ahead a little bit here, but I don't know if you've seen there was a prototype for a carrier base thing that would have been essentially that. Have you guys seen this at all?
Never seen that. Sounds awesome.
Okay, so we are going to talk through
about this. We have talked about this somewhere else because we know who has it.
Well, I was going to say, pretty sure that Raz has this. Obviously,
really?
Friend of the pod, Raz. ERJ. So I'll share you a picture. You can see it there. And for the people listening at home, it's worth saying that we are going to be talking through some pictures and stuff today. Most of them are on TF Wiki. This is on TF Wiki actually as well. But if you are on our Patreon, which you can get at patreon.com/Triple Takeover, then we're going to be posting all of these pictures that we're talking through on our Discord as well. So that's just another little perk.
You can follow
being on our Patreon.
The episode as you listen. In the correct chronology.
In like real time.
Later. Real time later.
Yes, later on, but sort of like real time.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
In your own real time.
Yeah.
I'm loving this little guy.
So this was like, I mean, you can see that it was essentially like a fold up case thing that turns into like a military base, basically, with little slots for cars and stuff like that. But to me, this obviously went unproduced, so it's just a grey resin prototype. But it's the clearest indication that if they continued down this road, that they would have done more of that kind of stuff, and gone the Micro Machines route of like, sort of fold out little cases and things like this to kind of keep the toys in, essentially, which I think is so... we never got to that level, but we were going there.
I like that they have the 3 ramps. One of them is steps and the other 2 are like finger ramps. And you're like, Cybertronians are millions of years old, man. Even at our age, in our 40s, I'm choosing a ramp over the stairs. So I don't think any of these Micromasters are going up the stairs.
It's like swerve.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Maybe that's what those arms are for. It lowers you down instead, so you don't have to go down the stairs. It helps you.
This set looks so good. I wish we would have seen it. But you can see the slots for the cars. And because it's also going to act as as a carry case, isn't it? And it's everything is so Micro Machines, but that's so of the time. Like again, like Mighty Max and everything was shrunk down. Like do you remember 0 Hour where they shrunk down little tiny people with little vehicles? We're going to do that in a Tapman soon. Actually,
wasn't that Sylvanian Families was Well, that's been always around, but they were doing. There was.
That's a curveball.
Oh, Jason.
But they did it. I just got
Flocked
a flashback.
mice.
Yeah, flocked mice, exactly. But they had their own little miniature houses.
Beast Wars.
There's your beasts over there,
Somehow Rich is about to enter the chat. I got Rich is about to come in. Sylvanian families.
Friend of the pod, Rich. He loves the little Sylvanian families.
There we go.
I think him and his wife both, I think.
Yes.
Just as a small side story to Sylvanian families, the hospital I work at, the QMC in Nottingham, whenever I'm after going to the office, one of the departments has like a little waiting room in as and fro, and they've got a big glass case with a huge Sylvanian family's house. And I think it's like an old shop display that was donated to them like decades ago.
Wow.
And it's always still there. And you can
so
go in
cute.
and they've got this huge Sylvanian family's house with all the little figures still propped up. But you can't touch it because
That's so cool. That's
it's so fragile.
But it's got like the logo and stuff and everything stuck on the side, and I'm like, it's the next display thing, and I've always wondered why it's there and how it's survived.
You need to snap a photo of that if you're allowed. That's too cool.
We would like a photo. Definitely.
I'd love to see that.
But like we'll go back to it. But all of these things, man, it's so of the time. That's sort of very late 80s to mid 90s, where they would just everything was being pumped out in small form as well.
Yeah, it really was. And I think it's sort of hard to impress upon people now what a big shift that was, because I think as well, when you look at the toys that preceded this, I mean, we're in 89 now, but if you look at 87 especially, Fortress Maximus is only 2 years off this. Do you know what I mean? Or a year or two prior. And it's just inconceivable to me. I mean, funnily enough, I have my G1 Fort Max displayed next to a lot of Micromasters. Like I have them all kind of, surrounding him.
It looks cool.
It's just so cool. It's such a good scale contrast. Yeah. And actually, funnily enough, these guys are roughly the same size as the heads from the Headmasters. I mean, that's how tiny they are. And it's just so funny to me that we were at that sort of peak point of Transformers feeling confident enough that it could deliver something like Fort Max. I mean, it's not a USS flag, but that's still like that's a huge statement toy, you know? And it took, what was it, like another 30 years or something for Transformers to deliver something that was bigger than that, you know? That's how big it was. And I think it's crazy that, you know, you fast forward literally 18 months or so, and suddenly it's all about the micro, you know, just that complete flip from where it was at of like huge toys.
But it's interesting what Liam was saying as well about that, because obviously when Fort Max was coming out, that's when they were thinking potentially about Micromasters as well. So it's like, we made this massive thing over here, but actually we need to go and compete with those guys over there now as well, because this is where the market's going. But it's also that what we've often talked about, and what I love about Transformers, in the fact that they do these kind of big shifts and they try this stuff, and they and is that why it's such an everlasting brand? Because like, how often do you see in big corporations taking risks like this? They're more calculated now, let's be honest. But this is like, you know, they're looking at what's going on in the market and stuff like that. But to be able to make something that fits within that and be quite brazen about it, but it's not like these are. Well, it's the opposite, aren't they? These are just fantastically fun playsets. They're really good. And it could have gone really bad. They could have been awful.
Could have done. It was also fair to say that Transformers had never really done the playset thing before either. Like, we'd had base modes.
Yeah, true.
But it was always a robot that turned into a base mode, you know? And it would be like, you know, some dude
lying down.
Folded up into kind of a yoga pose that sort of, and it's a base now, you know, it was always kind of that. There was never really like exclusive bases before.
No. And but then you're right, and obviously then they were able to take all they'd learned, all those learnings, and develop Ironworks,
him
a little base
specifically?
That turns into a windmill.
Oh, I know. It's just
technological
wonderful.
achievement required.
It's a good disguise if you're in the Netherlands.
That, you know, is a real favourite toy of mine. I had it when I was a kid, so of course it's an automatic banger. And it's just so lovable, honestly. Everything from the little Ironworks figure himself, you know, he's the little sort of yellow truck repaint, he's really cool. But the windmill thing, the way it folds out, it's just super fun. And I think what was great about those little stations, there were 4 of them, obviously the kind of smaller ones, was that you could have just the one, and it was the kind of thing that you could take out with you. Like, you could, I don't know, you could be sat in the doctor's waiting room, for example, or whatever, and just be playing with it, and it like had enough in it to kind of capture your imagination and to just be like a sort of self-contained toy. or you could get more of them and, build it up into like a huge city and whatever else. And it's
Again,
just incredible.
Exactly like Micro Machines. All those adverts where you'd have the thing that was like click, 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 click of all the different play sets going together and the cars rolling between them.
Yeah.
And then Transformers did that. And
I know.
it's just a really cool thing, despite the fact it's a very clear rip-off. But
exactly.
But some of the best things are rip-offs of other things, but done in their own way, and that's what makes these better. It's why they can get away with it, because they're not just little cars; they're little cars that turn into robots, and it just that little spin of its own just makes it something wholly different and unique, despite the fact that the origins and really exactly what they were doing. It was very brazen that they're trying to jump on that bandwagon, but they've done it with their own stuff in their own way.
I completely agree. I also think it would be different if they'd done it and it was bad, right? But it wasn't. It turned out to be, lightning in a bottle almost. It was just so good, to the point where actually, honestly, I don't think that any real Transformers, other than Minicons in Armada and Unicron Trilogy, that's an exception, but there's not really been any other Transformers toys at this scale that have been as compelling, I don't think, since. The modern equivalents of Micromasters, I don't find them nearly as good. Like, I find them very fiddly. And
it's funny you say that, actually, because I would agree, because I'd got those before I got the G1 Micromasters, and they're very posable. They got ball joints,
They are,
but they're a wee bit loosey goosey. They're very tactile. The G1 Micromasters.
There's a click clack to them.
Exactly.
There's a sort of precision. It just works.
And there's a standardization to them as well. Like, they're all across the board. There's similar transformation, but they're really consistent. They're very simple. So they look like little vehicles, and then they look like little robots. And I love minicons and stuff. And I think where some of them, for me, sort of always fell down was they were like, that was clearly designed as a kind of a vehicle thing. And then the robot is a thing that it turns into, and it's shaped vaguely robot.
I know what you mean. Something very weird and wonderful.
They're still brilliant for that thing. But what I loved about Micromasters is there's a set form factor to it, and they all adhere to it. There's, it's kind of a shape, but it's, just the whole thing is cool. And just the idea like that they would then look at stuff like the Micro Machine bases and station or the play sets and pull that over. I think that's the other thing. They didn't just like dip the toe in with the cars. They went,
they went all out.
Yeah, they went, there's a play pattern here. They were very aware of what the play pattern was. And they thought, we need to import that as well and experiment.
Yeah. I think the simplicity of the robots was part of that play pattern, to be fair. And I think that, you mentioned about articulation, for example, Jason, on the newer ones. I actually think that's part of the reason for me the originals are so good, is because they don't fuss with stuff like that. They're not worried about being over.
Click clack, like you say.
Yeah, it's so simple.
And Liam's right. It's a very standardized transformation. I mean, so many of them are flip the legs around, and that's the front of the car or the van or the truck or whatever it is, or the plane, and like fold maybe something down to cover the head, and you're kind of done. Like, most of them are 2 steps, if anything, and that's fine. Like, I don't think they suffer for that. I mean, I'm looking across my little Micromaster ranks now, and honestly, the very standardized thing of the legs folding round to the back to become the sort of top of the vehicle mode is absolutely a key feature of 90% of them, I think. And that's okay. And I think you're right about the Unicron Trilogy minicons, but even more so the sort of modern Micromasters. There's an element of like them being almost a bit too clever at times, and consequently, they try and pack in the articulation and things as well, but then you get ball joints popping off every time you... I mean, I cannot transform any of them without bits flying off them and things like that.
Teeny tiny heads on them as well that have paint apps, but it's very greebly, and it doesn't really do it justice as well. It just becomes a bit too fiddly, actually, more than anything else.
See, I am the one person who really likes the modern Micromasters. This is what I've discovered online, is most people
found him.
Yeah, I really like them because they kind of what I always wanted with it. It's the Micromaster with articulation, but at the same time, I don't like them as much as the new ones because, like you say, when you transform, it's almost certain that the legs are going to fall off. But they don't have that simplicity of you just fold it over, click, click, clack, like that.
Yeah.
I find myself having to squeeze it together, trying to squeeze the arms in or the legs. They don't just snap together and click into place like these do.
I'm always worried about stress on the joints, and it just feels very a bit spongy and stuff like that. Do you know the other thing as well is that because the modern ones just come as a pack, right? A 2-pack. I literally just bought
2-pack.
some from In Demand that I didn't have just because they were heavily reduced, and I was just like, why not? They're fun. They're a perfect little despot, right? But I didn't buy any of them really at full price from memory. But the thing about the original G1 is it's obviously you've got the robot, but as we've talked about, there's all the other stuff in the box, and this is the thing that really surprised me is. And some of the boxes that I got from Andy still had their price on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking at it, and we'll come to the boxes in a minute, right? Because that's something I want to talk
Packaging
about.
Packaging was really
good. So
at this
good.
point.
Yeah.
But when you open that box up, and then the amount of stuff that was in there, you're like, all these extra bits, but then they didn't just work in one mode. They had all these different kind of applications that you could do with it, and the play, it's all about play value for me.
You're talking about the bases and stuff here, specifically.
Yeah, for the bases.
Right.
Bases and stations, not bases.
Bases and stations.
And then that was the thing, right? Because then you would get those bases, but then you would get the 4-packs and be able to combine those with the bases, and then you suddenly had this little, I get asked often by friends that aren't collectors of Transformers. It's like, if you had to get rid of your collection, what would you keep? And originally, it was always my G1 Bumblebee because it was the first one, and Prime, those ones. But you know what? Micromasters have snuck right in there.
Nice.
Because there's loads of reasons. But it's this thing, right? It's the fact you get so much bang for your buck in this playset.
You really do.
Very manageable as well, aren't they?
Yeah, well, exactly.
They don't take up a ton of space, right?
Yeah.
They are, it's like, you start getting your Pretenders and all this stuff. It's like you need a lot of room. And that's a very practical old man thing to say, but it is true.
No, it's true. It's like when Masterpiece was all the rage, and people are building up huge Masterpiece collections, like me. And then you look at some people, and they start collecting Legends scale stuff, and suddenly there's like, oh, we're doing basically Masterpiece style characters, but at Legends scale. And I just kept thinking to myself, these motherfuckers are saving so much space in their house. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just incredible.
One shelf cabinet
just the boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, God, just imagine the real estate that you're saving at home, But it's the same with Micromasters, because you just get such a quality collection at sort of a fraction of the scale.
Yeah.
And they're so playable as well. But that's one of the other things, like, what they nailed with them is they're some of the last Transformers that really rolled. Like, one of the things you do in the playground is you can put them down and you can flick them with your finger, like you do with kids, like little toy cars. You can flick them across the concrete and the playground, and it's like a silly thing, but it's like a lost art to toys now. Like, I can't remember, you get toys that roll synth, but you don't get like a line-wide consistency where all the cars are the same and you can flick them and the wheels go. It's almost like, this Transformer has rolling wheels again.
You're
this
right.
is a novelty.
Yeah, it has the clearance and it was pinned wheels.
But these were designed to play with first.
Yeah,
and I think
they were. They're very robust as well, because it was a big lump of plastic.
Change that has occurred over time.
I think as well, again, coming back to that whole kind of gimmick thing that we've been up to this point, here, really, other than being small, well, that was the gimmick, really. Other than that, they're just sort of, a lot of them are just standard Transformers, aren't they, in a weird way? And it's interesting because we'd actually not had that in some time. Like,
no,
it's
true.
It was always been like Headmasters or Pretenders or Target Masters or whatever it was. And just the idea of like a line of toys, line of robots that turn into cars and planes, and that's it. All right, they're small, and that is the gimmick. But really, take that aside, it's quite unusual. And there's a sort of almost, it's a bit like, I remember seeing Turbo Masters and stuff for the first time, and it almost didn't matter about the firing mechanism and whatever else. There was still that weird feeling of like, oh, it's robots that turn into cars. Like that. There's something almost refreshing about that after spaceships and and all
these are almost like the most robots in disguise.
They are.
Yeah, they really are. Exactly. Yeah, because they come with their own location.
Yeah. In many ways, it's the purest feeling of the concept. It's so weird. Like they just did it expertly well. So, and I mean, Jason, we'll go through some of the individual toys and things like this real quick, but I am going to be interested to see if there are some of these that you're not aware of or whatever else, or which you do know, because you do have some of these, don't you?
I do, and I'll be honest that when I didn't go through I got a lot from Andy. He was selling an awful lot, and I lucked out getting a lot from him. But yeah, I went for the kind of big. I went for the set of the bases actually more than anything else. So the individual ones, the fours, I've not.
You've not got many of those.
I've not got many of those. Although, funnily enough, in that infamous movie box that I got filled with stuff, I did get some random Micromasters in there, like I got an individual plane and all that kind of stuff. So.
It's so funny because you cannot buy a G1 Transformers job lot of any kind without at least a few Micromasters in there.
And a robot
inevitable.
Machine. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
totally.
But they're just ubiquitous. Honestly, like the funny one is when I got my Grandis. I know I've talked about this before, but I was literally like, I opened the thing up. And there was just Micromasters inside, like tons of them.
Such a bonus.
Pulling them out, like, oh right, there's another road handler, and like here's another one, and a couple of them were quite rare ones, that very rare ones, which was cool. But yeah, it was just they're just everywhere.
Is that where you got
honestly.
the Takara? That's I remember that day, and you were just like mystified. It was the red car. It
comes with Sky Hyper. But yeah, there were two in there that were particularly rare.
I can't believe you got a Grandis and that inside it. That's unbelievable.
It was wild, honestly, because I was literally pulling them out. There was the Sky Hyper Micromaster, and there was the Diatlas Micromaster.
Diatlas,
which
wow,
yeah. I did move on, but
did you? I was going to say, did you keep it or not? Right,
no. I was going to, but then I got a Sky Hyper, so I was like, I don't need two of these. Yeah. So,
it's always the race car patrol and the airstrike patrol, isn't it? Like they're the two. Yeah, where whenever you get a job lot, there's always one of those guys. If there's going to be one in, there is a 95% chance it comes from either of those two.
That's definitely
even my son, 7 years old in the year 2025, he has the race car patrol.
Quite right too. Right up
and he loves them. I love it. Absolutely loves them. Amazing. But I mean, you mentioned the packaging. Just check that out first of all. I mean, this is the race car patrol in their sort of box, all sort of angled to the side, like diagonally. The way they're displayed.
Look at the art of the robots there as well.
And this, Jason,
so cool.
This is the second best Micromaster style cards of the two.
Well, I was going to say, so it's interesting because you're right. They did both styles. This is the second one. So they did the first one, which was the classic kind of red sunburst, red and purple sunburst, depending on if it was Autobot or Decepticon. And then they did the next year was this sort of silver shiny backing with the new Transformers logo, and then like this kind of lines down the side and like neon green and all kinds of weird stuff. And
this became the motif going forward as well, didn't it? Because this is like Goldbot's classics packaging is this same pattern.
Yeah, totally. I do love that. Oh, that's so cool. $2.98. Oh my goodness.
What are they called? Lightspeed and Flame. Those guys, the Motivators. They have the same style package, but gold. Right. It becomes the motif, and it's funny because the one before this, the red pack ones, that's the last time you see that logo.
It is
the old Transformers. The metal sort of logo, and then it is replaced by the angled one.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's very true. It was all changed at this point, which is another way that I feel like this was quite not a quick change, but it's interesting that they were so quick to get these guys out, and then the packaging changes. It almost does make you think that actually they were like, get it out, lads, get it out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This even reinforces again that it is about refreshing the brand, the packaging, because there's new logo, new packaging style. Just look at it as well. They're even little platforms like Micro Machines. They're laid out from the top down, whereas Micro Machines were the other way.
That's right.
It's so similar, and it's so targeted at that. Why would you buy one toy when you can have four? It's like people always say, they're not as good as Minibot stuff. It's like, but if I had a choice between one Minibot and four Micromasters as a kid, one toy versus four, you're going for the four different toys, aren't you? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But even at full price, that is a bargain. And I realize this is like, I'm not even going to work out the maths of how long ago it is, but it's a long time ago.
1989.
Yeah.
In the words of Public Enemy, 1989.
Wait, hang on. That's 36 years ago. That can't be right. Oh God, it is right.
No, it's not, Jason. It's anything like that is perpetually 20 years ago. That's as far back as we say. It's all vintage. There's a cut off after it gets to.
Yeah, it's just
I'm
vintage.
just disturbed that I'm taking Jason's word on dates for it.
I'm pretty confident with that math.
I was going to say, my God, and here I am just accepting it and not challenging it. But listen, I've got another picture of the back of the card here as well. This is the sunburst one again, but you can just see there. I also think this is great because you get a tech spec for the patrol overall, all 4 characters, but then you get individual photography of them in both modes, and as well as group shots, and you get individual instructions and
a little
so cool.
A little line from each of them as well, which is so cool. That's like so much. We talked about this about like bring back tech specs and bring back the amount of stuff they've got on the back of this for individual characters. Love it.
That to me
they've got
is
their own mottos.
Amazing packaging. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's down to that level of detail.
Purely from a Transformers packaging fan perspective as well. You can really see like the end of the G1 packaging here. Like the way this is laid out, it's still the original style packaging, but move into something else. Like there's some of the elements have changed, like the way the name boxes for each one and stuff like that.
Angled.
And
totally.
Just little bits. There's no big mural, but there's lots of other stuff. But it's all still very in keeping with 84 to 88, isn't it? There's still
very much
black with the text work and stuff, and it's about to change. But here, I love the fact there's a cross sell as well. That's another thing that
the Powermaster.
Well, you can see the other teams.
Oh, right. So you mean, yeah.
You didn't really get that on Transformers box at the time, but you always got it on other carded figures, and it's such an important thing for me as a kid, like staring at it, going, "Oh my God!" Like I've got this toy.
Yeah.
It's exciting, but now I can see all these other toys all of the time, and they are somehow more interesting because I don't have them.
Wait, hang on. Sorry, wait a second though, because this is the race. I am confused now. Oh, no,
this is the Race Car Patrol.
Yeah, but then it's also got the Race Car Patrol advertised at the top right.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Okay, yeah. So I was a bit like, hang on, isn't that the same guys?
They're advertising themselves. But
what I do like about this, though, as well, is that even that line, like, capture the intrigue in a world of incredible dimensions, and then commissioned by the Powermaster, not Powermasters, but Powermaster. Even just this whole lore that they're putting behind it and all that kind of stuff. Again, love that. Love the fact that they're like, let's give them a bit of a backstory here, getting that on the back of the card. This is why I collect the G1 carded stuff and as well, just keep that stuff, because you don't get this anymore, right? It's so generic, and there's not really a need to keep it as such.
No. Well, we've done. I mean, we did a whole mini-sode, didn't we, on tech specs and bios recently, and it's fair to say we got on one. I think about about writing the state of the current, packaging.
Fix it, Hasbro.
Do
this
exactly,
again.
Exactly, and just
Lovely.
saying,
look at this.
This
one
is
language.
all the stuff that's missing. Exactly.
Exactly. One language just makes sense.
To me, this is some of the best packaging of the era, but it just absolutely shows up kind of I don't want to dismiss what we get today, uniformly, but this is another level, let's put it that way. So, but if you think that's good and exciting, then check this out. This is really something. This is the Micromaster 1989 catalogue, and we're going to look through some individual toys and stuff, but what's weird here is that actually most of what you see in this catalogue at the time are prototypes. And very different to the final thing. Yeah, very.
Look at Countdown.
Yeah,
look at his
I was going to say.
And look at the.
Even it's a total, even the Russian colours style. Yeah, it's cool.
At first glance, you look at the colours and you're like, "Oh, it's the same." And you look close and go, "No, those are saturated
completely different."
Like, look at the greys and the
greys.
The rocket really stands out as different.
Doesn't it? So actually, on this one, Overlord, Autobot Overload. Sorry, was the
Overload.
Yeah. That was the one that I got in that box, I remember. And when I got it, I was like, what is this? This is cool. This is like a mini Ultra Magnus.
I knew you were going to say either that or Optimus Prime. That's what people always say.
Yeah. And it's
so
it's
one for Sixo, because Sixo has made a joke about this before, about how I can remember what I was wearing at the time when I got toys.
Go.
When I got Overload, I remember exactly when it was, because I was wearing a white shorts and white t-shirt with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on them, or Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles as it was at the time, and it was So this would have been either summer of 89 or summer of 1990. I think, because I remember it being the summer, and I remember very specifically having this t-shirt and shorts that my mum hated me wearing, but my grandma let me wear. And so I remember getting Overload and talking to my granddad and being like, he looks like Ultra Magnus. He's like a little Ultra Magnus. And my granddad doing his gardening and being like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Genuinely like, cool.
Great.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That's like me now, though. That's how things are now, is that it's like my son talking to me about Pokemon and stuff, and I'm just like, But yeah, I think a lot of the appeal of Micromasters, though, in a weird way, was that you almost felt like some of them, you could transpose characters onto them, like in a weird way. Like it's like, oh, it's the truck guy, that's Ultra Magnus, and it's this guy that's kind of like Hot Rod. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, it had that feeling to a number of them that they were like archetypes of classic characters in a weird way. Yeah, exactly. There almost was like a Sunstreaker guy, and it's just so strange. But yeah, this catalogue has always kind of blown my mind a bit, both as a kid at the time and now looking at it and just thinking, whoa, these are some cool prototypes. They're just so unusual.
Isn't it funny to think that if this was now and this was the first time they were doing them, instead of being unique characters, they would just be shrunk down versions of main cast of whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Does that? Whereas here, they obviously we get a Hot Rod later, but that's it. But that's obviously only with Star Convoy. But they're all new characters. They're all individual
which
toys.
I love.
And it's still at that time, other than like classic Pretenders and Action Masters in general, every time a new toy came out, it was a new character. That's what you expected. It was like, what are the new Transformers? And it's not like, what is the new version of the same Optimus Prime or G1 Wheeljack? You know, as we get now, it is very much like, what were the new Transformers that I've never seen before going to be?
So true. It would have been so easy for them to just do a line of these and be like, hey, here's Optimus Prime, but now he's like an inch tall.
They showed restraint. But although I wonder if it's because it's still that time before reissuing characters was really a big thing.
It hadn't quite kicked in yet.
Until Ninja Turtles proved that you could do it 16 times a year as Astro.
And everyone would buy them. Totally.
You just have the same 4 characters. Yeah,
Hasbro just hadn't really caught on yet. They were like dipping the toe in with, we'll do it with there's a Power Master, but that's just because everyone cried about Optimus Prime dying, and there's some what they call the Action Masters. This is different. Bring this time back.
I know, exactly. So do you know what's when I looked at this and I was like immediately coveting all of this, right? I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to go and check what I'd got from Andy.
Oh, well. We'll I'll tell you, let's tick them off as we go, because I've got some individual picks.
Before we go, can I just point out that, you said they were all prototype Sixo, but when you look at Skystalker, his mini jet has a windscreen.
Where is he?
Oh, so it does. Oh my God. Yeah.
And it looks like it's rather than, because you know that toy, it splits in half, doesn't it? And the sides of the cockpit fold out.
How would that work?
There's no windows. There is a window, but there's no glass. Here, there's plastic glass. That is really interesting to see.
But not on the base mode.
No.
Because you can see it up the top of the base mode where it's flipped over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, because if you look really closely at the hinge, there's like a tiny light blue part. So I wonder if I think it's flipped down. I think it's kind of
possibly
like sticking out and the thing's open from the side. But it's fascinating. Look at the colour of it. It's white as well, rather than that kind of off-white.
Creamy.
Well,
totally.
The same with Airwave as well. With
that really stands out.
So white compared to the final version, which is grey. And it's interesting. I mean, you can totally see as well that they were getting this stuff out as quickly as they could, because I mean, Skystalker is pictured with Road Handler. You've got, all of the stations, the 4 stations are pictured with their original coloured versions of those toys, not the repaints that they came with. So like Ironworks comes with, that's not Ironworks, that's Powertrain, and stuff like that. And so it's fascinating to see.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah, it's really cool. This is I really want to get my hands on this catalogue as well. Catalogue,
worth doing.
It's so cool, isn't it? The because it ended up being a slightly creamy white, didn't it, for the actual released figures?
A lot of them, or kind of grey, or in the case of Countdown, that was white. But then, good luck keeping it that way.
Definitely not these days.
Yeah,
you know how many times I've done the whitening trick on my Countdown rocket? At least 3.
I'm pretty sure mine is white, but that said, I haven't got it out of the cupboard in a while, and probably
leave it there.
Exactly.
Stay white in your memory.
Don't
Schrodinger's countdown.
Don't check it, exactly. I have to admit. So talking of countdown, right? When I got that, so that was one of the first that I opened. But
peak.
Yeah, what an experience just from the box. So the box was that the modern Transformers silver kind of all that kind of stuff looked stunning, but having to split the rocket, that was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done in a long time.
It's creaky now. It wasn't
really
always that way,
yeah.
but the plastic of a lot of this stuff is,
I hate transforming the base now because of the creak of when you split the parts.
Yeah.
The noise. I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to shatter in my hands. But actually, when I did it, and there's that big chunky clip, isn't there?
Yeah.
But what an absolute joy! It was like so much fun. Gave me flashbacks to so many different toys I had as a kid. I had this really cool little NASA dinky toy as a kid, and Lego space kind of buggy that I'd had, and Micro Machines. It hit all these nice feels, and I think that's something about Micromasters, which is.
I like that you mentioned dinky toys. It's what do you call it? Just off on a tangent. I was at a party with some doctors from work, and one of the consultants was asking about this podcast, and he was like, "Oh, when you say talking about toys, do you mean like dinky toys?" And I was like, "No, not quite that old, but yeah." And now Jason has brought it full circle and said it's
there we go.
Yeah,
we mentioned that level of old man.
Yes,
fantastic.
There we go. Dinky
Thanks,
toys.
Jace.
Yeah. Dinky,
great.
I mean small, obviously.
Obviously, yes, obviously. Yeah. Right, let's rattle through some of these controls and stuff.
Anyway,
we will come to the bases, but I don't want to spend hours on them.
No, because we've got
we've done a mini-sode on them previously, but still, I think it'd just be interesting to see what you've seen and not seen, Jace. So I want to just start with these guys, because to me, this is the Autobot race car patrol, and to me, this is the most
quintessential, isn't it?
Yeah, quintessential. They're the poster boys of Micromasters, these guys. Yeah. Like, this is just everything, this set. Absolutely incredible. I mean, 4 amazing vehicle modes, including a bloody DeLorean, which is as 80s
I never made that connect. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a DeLorean. It's a transforming DeLorean, yeah. And just so cool, honestly. And here they are in the robot modes as well. And
look at them.
Do you have these guys, Jace?
Yes. So, interestingly, Freewheeler, I already had Freewheeler. That was the only one that I had from this set originally, but now I have got these from Andy, and I did take these out and have a little play with them as well, because they're very famous. So I did know, and I didn't make the connect. That's a DeLorean though. I could totally see it now.
Yeah,
but
they're all modelled after real world cars.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
You know, Top Spin, for example, is a Porsche. Porsche 962.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, got you.
So they're all modelled after the real cars. Yeah, Freewheeler is what's Freewheeler? I think he's a Lamborghini. Yeah, he's a Countach.
He's a Countach. Yeah.
Is it a Countach or is it a Diablo? Because it's not got the spoiler, has it?
Yeah, but they did that was the American one. It had no spoiler in it. It had a stupid bumper and stuff.
Yeah,
as well. But
pretty sure it is meant to be a Countach.
Yeah, the front is this. When I was a kid, this was Sunstreaker.
Well, exactly. It doesn't even need to make sense, does it? Like, I think, Road Handler for me is your hot rod, basically. It just is what it is. I mean,
you didn't. Scale never really entered it then, but in my head, I remember I always made it the thing where it was like he was a shrunk down form of Sunstreaker. Just for some reason he was now shrunk down. Didn't matter why. It was.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
Cool. Look at how stunning the robots
the robots are,
and
so
they're all
cool.
different. Look how they're not like now. You would be like 2 of them are identical, and
they're painted slightly differently. Yeah.
2 sets of 2, but here it's just 4 unique individuals. And there's more paint on these guys than you would get on a modern
Titan Master.
Really nicely painted as well.
I know, and the molding, like the amount of different molding, all those backs of those vehicles, different molding for each.
Yeah.
Look at the detail. Who's the blue guy? What's his name?
Tailspin.
So look at he's got his little rocket ears going on.
You're going to do that.
It's brilliant level of detail.
The little rockets on the side of the head. It's just
very dogfight, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a level of detail though that is unprecedented nowadays. And we often say this about, kind of vintage toys and all of this, but it rings so true. The one concession I think you've got to give these guys is the prominent screw in the chest.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the only real note of like, that could have been better.
Yeah.
But to be fair, for the size of them, you don't really notice it. Like, I think it was one of those things, the screw, that obviously I looked at, however many times, countless times as a kid, but it took me to adulthood, I think, and for someone to go, quite prominent, the screws on these fellas, aren't they? For me to be like, oh God, they are. Yeah. It was almost like a blind spot for me somehow. I just didn't realize it at all.
But that's the thing, isn't it? That you don't, it's like these are too small to get like decals on them or stickers or anything, right? So it's not going to happen. But
I love that Swindler's got this. He doesn't have a visible one, but he's got a indented circle molded where you feel like maybe once there was a screw hole. Yes.
Matrix.
Also, Swindler, Autobot Swindler, always is like.
Yeah, it's true. It's a weird name, isn't it?
An oxymoron.
An Autobot.
It's not quite as good as Autobot Macau over there on the right.
Yeah, I noticed that totally. Yeah.
But one of the other things that's really striking about these toys, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, is they like similarly. There's got like a similar style to the Headmasters, of the time, like the legs, the arms. And I've always really appreciated, because the Micromasters were always meant to be small people size, that the bodies of them, the robot modes, they look a lot like they would be Headmasters too. They've got that same kind of detailing and style because of the size.
So true. They really fit in stylistically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They just
like
work.
The torsos, they could be, if you took the wheels off and slapped a head on the back, I'm like, yeah, that's a Headmaster. They just all have that same style.
Yeah, you're so right. And again, I just think the fact that they've all got such a sense of personality to them for such tiny toys, like they've really got a charm, and they just work in so many ways, but they've got that sense of individuality that. But as you said earlier, Liam, they've also got that uniformity to them as well, that you can feel that sense of consistency in the line. But they're all
like the
completely original, unique designs. Exactly, like the scramble limbs. Yeah, that's true, actually. They fit that template, and yet they each have their own sense of personality, which is so cool.
It is.
Like these for the race cut track patrol. You just look at them, and every single one, they're so different. They don't look alike at all, but they all look familiar. Like you know they come from the same group, but then not the same toy at all. And it's just fantastic. Like, look at those faces. This is spectacular.
Beautiful toys. Check out this next set. This is, of course, the Rescue Patrol, a personal favourite of mine.
Yes. Chichimpui.
Like a boat. We got a boat.
We got a boat. Yes.
Oh,
we did a mini-sode on boat formers actually once upon a time, and I remember Sea-Watch here was high up the list of. Oh, he's a boat, isn't he?
That's what we should have called it. Yeah, like Spring Watch or Ghost Watch. We have Sea Watch.
Sea Watch, exactly.
So that's Rescue Patrol, is it?
This is the Rescue Patrol. Do you have these guys?
I do, but I've not looked at them actually. Ooh. So they're on my list, but I've not opened them. So
again, this is like, for me as a kid, this was Ratchet, Inferno, Prowl, and a boat guy. Like,
and a boat guy.
Who's the boat?
Captain Birdseye.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the boat over there.
Jeff.
Like that sculpt on the what's the name of the fire engine dude?
Red Hot.
It's got a kind of slightly sideswiped, slightly Inferno head sculpt going on there.
Definitely. Oh, this was Inferno for me, without a doubt. Yeah. This was absolutely G1 Inferno shrunk down to Micromaster size. I swear, my brain just convinced me it was the same character.
And Stakeout, man. Stakeout's robot mode. That face, that hair, it's an all-timer.
Is Stakeout the one on the right? Is that the police car?
Yeah, the police car.
Yeah. Slightly taller as well. He's one of the tallest Micromasters.
Well, I was going to say, it's like me and Sixo with those legs.
They're all different sizes as well, but like slightly, there's kind of a fun there going on in this team.
It is actually a good point. Yeah, totally. That they do come in different sizes of heights.
Ever so slightly, yeah. I mean, it's almost imperceptible until you actually get them in hand, and then you realise that they do vary. They're not uniform head height at all. Even looking across the ranks now and looking at some of the 1990 versions as well, it continues. They do bob up and down slightly, which I think is really, really cool.
That's cool.
I think the interesting thing about the fire engine is I think only the very back wheels roll, don't they? The back and the front. There's the non-rolling wheels next to it.
Oh yeah, there's not pinned.
It's got
a
set of two at the back, and I think that's one thing I always remember. But these guys,
second from the back isn't pinned, so it wouldn't move.
Yeah, it's just a sculpted wheel. But these guys are more popular now, aren't they? Because of the old Victory, yes. And we got really good updates of these with the old
we did
HasLab.
I will say, actually, the updated versions of these, particularly the two that came with Deathsaurus, I thought were really good, I have to say.
That's because I think the other two had came out at retail.
They had.
So they have a lot of this products, but the last two were made for...
They were made for Deathsaurus, weren't they? Yes,
I think they put a little bit more of there's a smaller run, a bit more collectory.
Yeah. They definitely felt
a
cut above, it has to be said.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it's cool to see these guys in modern form as well. I mean, you know, these are just so classic, though. There's still just that charm to the originals that I just think is unmistakable. So
they're great.
We're going to look now at, I think, what is my favourite patrol of all of them. Just saying. I think this is about as perfect a set of Transformers as ever there was. I just think this is incredible. And it is, of course, the Battle Patrol.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I do have these. I do
wow,
have these.
Jason.
I'm so excited about these. Because look, that's like Brawl, but with a massive missile launcher on top of him. Oh, they're great, aren't they? There's so much to love about these.
Really fun transformations, because these deviate slightly from the
these are a bit more unique.
Jets.
Yeah.
Like the little missile tank guy is just
modes.
Flak,
that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The other one is like Sunrunner or something, isn't it?
The Sunrunner is the jet.
Yeah.
There's the Big Shot is the
it's like the
obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have to take a look at that, I think. And Sidetrack is the other one as well. So
look at again. This is what I love about these, is that Big Shot's head sculpt, he's got this massive Mohican thing going on, right?
He does.
It's just completely unnecessary, but absolutely brilliant.
Quite sort of weirdly military, though, isn't it? In a sort of weird
it's like
way.
A crest of a kind of Roman soldier or something like that, isn't it?
They all have like a military vibe to them, and it doesn't sway into that as much as like some of the Takara 6 combiners, you know, because there you get like proper little police hats on them and things like this, and like, you know, construction helmets, and they really, you know, Takara really go to town on the theme of that kind of stuff. It's very brave in that way. But like here, I think you can see an element of military theme in the head sculpts, even like the visors and things like this. It's just got that kind of vibe to it.
You're right.
It's so true. These are the ones that, for me, are the closest. Like if I put these, particularly in the alt modes with minicons, they would sit really nicely in the way that they look. Because there's like I can't remember his name, but it's a really lovely minicon that's like a helicopter. It's an Autobot, but it has like dual propellers and stuff like that. And they overlap really nicely, I feel, with that kind of style. It's a great set, this one.
So
really
so beautiful. Yeah. Sunrunner especially is the plane here. I think is my favourite Micromaster of them all. Honestly, it's just so nice. He's got little articulated elbows, just a beautiful transformation, great sculpt. I've wanted the Takara versions of these with the kind of blue and stuff for years. Wow. And a few buggers on our Discord have picked them up, and it's been I don't often look at people getting stuff and think, do you know what I mean? But this was one where I'm definitely like, I absolutely need it.
I got the box set of the Siege ones. They did an exclusive box set, and they did a load of them in those colours.
Oh, nice.
And it was at one of the TFNs. I can't remember which one it was, but I made sure that I got I think it was Santiago Jones to get it for me, because he had an early access thing, so he was right at the front of the queue. And so I asked him, I was like, just when you see it, because I know they're in there, just grab me one. And they went within seconds, so he got me one.
Wow.
And now the price on that thing is absolutely crazy. It's like a box. I think it was like of 10. But what I think is a bit of a shame is when Siege did Big Shot I'm sure it's just a retool of Red Hot, which I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's how it is. I think it's just got the different back bit.
That's the thing now, isn't it? Everything's a retool and and you know, uses parts and things, and you know. Whereas again, it's just incredible to me. I mean, we're about to look at the 4th patrol, and you know, so what we're not seen a single reuse of any piece other than wheels so far. You know,
totally.
That's it. It's
quite individual
incredible.
Sculpts. Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing.
And that's the thing, right? It's like anyone that's not had these in hand, like if you can, go and find some, just so you can see how the size of them and the detail on them as well. They're so greebly, and they're just really and they're just really lovely little vehicles to play with. But transform them, they're like so satisfying.
They really are.
They're great. They're great. I want mine in hand now. I love them so much.
Well, check out this one. I'm wondering if you've got this set actually. Did you have the Battle Patrol, Jason?
I do. Yeah.
You got these. So you got all of these so far.
Yes, I did get quite a bit actually.
So you're sitting there going, "Oh, just the bases, really,and here you are, Johnny Micromaster."
Looking at it, I think I might have most of. Let's see. Let's see.
Wondering if you got these guys. This is the off-road patrol. This is the final. Oh man,
I do because
just the bases.
I really wanted these guys. That's why, and I love them. I've always loved these guys. They're just
what I love about these guys is the robot modes. They look like the most like cartoon Cybertronians.
Ironhide Trailbreaker.
It's just they all have that kind of look of like when they would go back to Cybertron and the random characters and stuff that would be like the different primes or stuff like that.
Yeah, just hanging around.
They've just got that look of background extra Cybertronians out the cartoon.
Totally.
Really good, really, really, really
so
cool.
True.
Like, man, just look at them.
They're just amazing. But you're right. I mean, certainly as a kid, that was Ironhide to me. Tote.
Yeah. I mean,
just Ironhide. And Trailbreaker, and whatever else. It's just how I thought of them.
So this is years ago, long time ago, when I was getting World's Smallest. I did some photos for my Instagram of like World's Smallest Prime with Masterpiece Prime and who else? Ones that can match up. I also had the Just Toys. Dinobots and stuff as well, and they did really well. People really loved that kind of look. That's what I want to do with these guys. I want to get each version. I want to get like Ironhide, G1 Ironhide, Masterpiece Ironhide, and just have them all. It's a weird thing about me, but I really love all these different versions of the same or similar kind of toy.
And then get this guy as well.
All of them. Which guy?
Yeah. Tote.
Totally, absolutely. Yeah, get him.
Totes my goats.
At the same time, there was a Kinder Egg like toy that was also like Ironhide, and I remember having that with this, and they were about the same size. Do you remember Kinder Eggs? They were all the rage back in the day. But they had like a phase where they did Transformers, but they were non-official, so they were
they were bad. You had to take them apart, didn't you, to make it work? They were really clumsy.
These guys, Tote is the best name of the lot because it's so ridiculous. Tote.
It's totally ridiculous. Yeah. I say that. I say Tote's loads.
This team, though, the names are mad because you've got Tote, and then suddenly you've got Powertrain and Mudslinger, and then freaking Tote, like he's a tote bag,
Tote.
just carry him over the shoulder with all my makeup in it.
It is funny.
So who's the one that looks like Trailbreaker? Is that
that's what's his face? Johnny Thingy. That's
Jim Ray.
High Jump. I think there for a minute. Yeah. I knew it was something ridiculous.
He's lacking kind of shoulders, isn't he? In his robot mode,
he's a little bit.
He's just strained. He's just cold, Jason. He's been out in the rain and he's got the chills now.
Yeah.
I thought he was wearing like a poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's been out in the rain. Look at me, he's like,
little waterproof poncho. Yeah,
love that.
Get me some vegetable soup out. Ooh.
So good.
His mum's telling him off for staying out too long in the rain.
Yeah. Sorry, Mum. Yeah. He's probably one of the least successful of these patrols. I hate to say it, but just even in the vehicle mode, you've got the little red bit of his legs kind of poking out the top. Yeah. So
he looks like a GoBot.
He does. His face sculpt.
Really
he's had his nose smashed in a few times by Decepticons, isn't he?
A few points off that dude, but still fun.
But they're great, And until you said earlier, actually, Sixo, that I didn't realize that for Grease Pit that it was a repaint of this guy.
So all of the bases and stations, Liam, all of them come with repaints. So the patrols are all individual molds, and then when you get a base or a station, it's with a repaint of one of the patrols, which is an individual member, which I think is super cool and quite a nice way of doing it because it's not necessarily what you'd get now, I don't think. And I think it's cool that all of the individual patrols were exclusive sort of individual molds, if you like.
Yeah,
that's great.
This team, man, like the vehicle modes are hilarious because you've got like Tote, High Jump, and Powertrain. They're quite normal vehicles, some of that. Then you suddenly got Mudslinger, and he's a monster truck.
A monster truck, yeah.
It's just like, wait, what? How does that go with these? Like ordinary vehicles you might see on the motorway. Then a monster truck.
Well, it's Vegas.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it's off-road either. Like the off-road theme doesn't quite work. Like the truck is off-road. Yeah. Doesn't quite work.
Let's be honest, as a kid, you always wanted a monster truck, right? You know, because it was cool.
Monster truck with your camper van and your fruit and veg van, and then your truck.
That's exactly what my garage looks like here, Liam. You know,
yeah.
You know, you say that, but I can absolutely imagine that it would be.
God,
You know,
I would love
so
that
so
much.
you know, that could not be a lie, and I wouldn't know. But I'm just going to show you this next one. Then, so this is the first Decepticon patrol.
The boys.
Yeah, the boys. This is the Decepticon sports car patrol. It's just basically the evil equivalent of
the baddie
version.
version.
The Autobot cars, isn't it? It's
yeah,
the bad guys, and you can tell that because they're all purple and blue and black and yellow.
This is another one that's super ubiquitous, wasn't it, at the time? Like,
oh yeah,
these guys are everywhere. Blackjack he seems to have been like one of the more popular ones, like from Hasbro, because he got a toy in Combiner Wars as well. He becomes Minosaur's chest car, you know, the little the chest skateboard, the car bra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the car bra.
He acts as that in Combiner Wars.
Interesting. I mean, I do think that this original toy, although it's a new sculpt, it does share definitely some parts or engineering or something with the DeLorean guy, with Swindler.
Yeah,
you can absolutely see that there's some crossover there. You know,
totally.
I think they are individual parts, or maybe some of the parts are reused. So we are saying, they're all individual and all this, but that's where you can see a little bit of commonality just on those two. But
there's definitely overlap, isn't there?
There's some overlap there. Yeah.
Different legs, though. Definitely different legs. And
yeah. The bottom legs are different, and there is differences between them. I don't think that they're completely the same at all. Obviously, the face is different, you know, whatever else. But that's about as close as you get, I think, between two of these characters.
Doesn't have the circle on his chest either.
And he does not.
And the bonnet, I think the bonnet's different. Yeah, the bonnet's different. It's a different part. Like, it's the same transformation, but if you look at his bonnet, it's got like little line detailing molded in that follows the shape, whereas the other one doesn't.
I think you're right.
That looks the same.
No,
I just think
it's different.
Oh no, it's angled. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, you can see it angled in.
It's definitely
the same shape on the outline, but then if you look in the middle, there's like a V sort of molded in, but that's not there on the other one. And the heads, I think are the heads different?
I'm tempted to say it might just be maybe the backpack is the same, maybe the arms, and that's probably it. Maybe like the thighs, but there might be one or two shared parts, but it's minimal anyway, so which is cool.
No. Even the arms are different. They look the same, but if you look closely at the shoulders, Blackjacks have got little sculpted like vent lines.
So they do, which is not on Swindler.
So, yeah, it's the same sort of shape and part.
Yes.
So maybe it's retooled into a different thing, but
maybe.
I mean, obviously the legs are different, but
definitely some shared engineering going on. But yes,
yeah.
Just fun to see. But I absolutely love this set. I have the Takara versions as well, which are Autobots, funnily enough, and
really?
Just beautiful. Honestly, really, really cool.
The Supercar Patrol.
Yeah, I think it's Supercar. Yeah, I was trying to remember the name of the patrol.
These guys.
Oh, you've got them as well. Of course, you just picked them up recently, didn't you?
Oh, nice.
I got them from
that's the set. Of course you did.
Megatron.
Yeah, of course.
They live on my desk.
Oh, yeah,
amazing price. Yeah. Of everything I've got in recent years, like these guys are some of the ones where I just got. They're so transformable, and they're just. It's like experiencing toys again that I've owned for years, but slightly different somehow.
Well, it really is because the color schemes are so different, so varied to these, and I do think with the Decepticon versions, a big part of it is the color because it's that sort of like blue and yellow and stuff. It's just sort of, I mean, you can tell that they're gang molded, right? Like you can tell that two of them are molded together. It's sort of so obvious when you look at it, but I just think beautiful. The blue of stuff like Hyperdrive to me is like a real feel of the time. Like I just look at that toy and I'm like, oh, it's 1989 again.
Yeah, it's that era, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's cool because the Supercar Patrol, like the one that Blackjack, I can't remember his name. It's called like Black Death or Black Heat or something like that.
Something like that.
He looks the same in car mode, and then you transform him, and the purple parts are all yellow.
Yellow, yeah.
And it's really striking and nice.
Like a really vibrant yellow as well, which is cool. Yeah, lovely set. And then
nice.
Last Patrol, these guys, which is the Airstrike Patrol, the Decepticons.
Yeah, there they are.
These are kind of, It's funny because of the two Decepticon patrols, I would be hard pressed to say which is the more ubiquitous, because these guys were like very prominent in the comic as well. Both patrols were. So it really felt like they were both the sort of poster boys of the Decepticons in a weird way.
Yeah. What is going on with his legs, though? Let's be honest.
I always felt that these guys were the equivalent to the Autobot ones, because these just felt like they're everywhere, and these guys got more time in the fiction as well. These guys would pop up in the comic.
Plus they're jets, and that's kind of the Decepticon thing.
It just felt like those two teams stood out above the others as like the main ones they focused on.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
This guy's like Whisper, or as he's now generally known as Visper.
Visper, yeah.
For copyright purposes, yeah.
Oh, really?
They were a bit careless with that one, I guess. Got him.
I'm never.
That's good.
That's it now. I'm never going to dance again.
Retired. So. That's it. Six will beat you to the line.
I got it. I was like, I'm going for it.
I thought of it.
It's quick. This guy got up at 5 a.m. and he's still quick,
exactly. I did. Yeah, because my dog exploded. But
well, not exploded.
No, yeah. Sorry, Liam. I know you're probably feeling so unsure. Take your hand. I'll lead you to the dance floor.
Oh my goodness!
Cupid, something got no rhythm. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's been all knocked out of kilter.
Liam's never going to dance again.
I'm going to break out the saxophone.
Shall I go and get mine? It's in the other room. Oh. Let's not do that. That would be bad.
Oh man, what if we did?
Please, Jason.
that
would be awful.
That would be a curveball. You'll just start singing along. You just. That would be an episode.
I'm looking at Night Flight, and Night Flight's plane reminds me of. Was it the?
It's the Tomcat.
It's a Tomcat.
F-14 Tomcat.
But isn't that like for what's it called? The the Titan's Return that we did recently. That was that you got Sixo. The that plane mode. Is it a Dread? It's not Dreadwind, is it? Just that plane mode is giving me vibes back to some other larger toy as well in the way that it looks.
Well, it's got wings and a nose cone.
Yeah. What was your black? Was it a Black Pretender that you got? Is it not him?
What, Black Shadow?
Black Shadow. Yeah. I'm going to Google it. Hang on. I feel like
he's just sort of a amorphous jet.
He is, isn't he? Yeah. Maybe it's not. It's not him.
I think it's the wings. That's
just
really...
the wings. It's because it's a plane.
Also,
that's what it is. Yeah.
General jet shape.
Yeah.
Air Raid as well, isn't it? I think is a Tomcat.
I believe so.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
But the obvious one is obviously Maverick. So.
Yeah, which is that's just Top Gun. Isn't it?
This is what they should have done in Mars.
Yeah, that would have been fun
totally.
to see.
That would have been brilliant.
That would
have been fun. Yeah, that would have been really fun to see.
That's the one that I got. That was the other guy that I got in that box as well. So I've got two of him as well. But he's got a bit of one of them's a bit of a loose nose.
Well, I didn't even ask you though, Jay. So do you own these two Decepticon patrols then?
No, I don't have. I've got. It's weird, right? I've got Detour and I think I've got Hyperdrive.
Right.
So I didn't get the Decepticon sports car patrol from Andy, but I got two of them in that box. I think I'll need to go back and check. So I don't have Blackjack or Road Hugger. I don't think.
So you're missing those two. Do you have the Airstrike patrol?
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, they're.
So what you're saying, Jason, is you've got 22 of the 24 Micromasters here.
Yeah, I've got quite a long list here,
right?
Of like what I got from him.
Have you not consulted your spreadsheet?
Nearly 92% of the Micromasters here. Having said that, all you had was the bases and stations.
Well, the ones that I'd opened and looked at specifically, but then I had to move house. Excuses.
Oh gosh!
And I don't know. I need to go and find them.
Toys everywhere. Yeah,
I know. Honestly, the stress.
Something to also point out here about the jets in the Airstrike patrols. They've all got wheels.
They do.
Yeah, totally.
That's a good point. Actually,
that's true.
It's a really good point.
Reminding you, they are little tiny Micro Machine-like toys that you can flick about the place.
Well, this is it. And they've kind of got to fit the play pattern as well, don't they? With the bases and stuff and the ramps and the roads. And they all work off that sort of central gimmick. The stations as well, indeed. So, yeah, they all kind of fit that. So, I mean, speaking of bases and stations, let's have a quick look. Now, as I said, we have done mini-sodes. Oh, actually, before that, we've got some transports to look at as well. But yeah, we have talked about the bases and stations before, so we're not going to spend hours on those. We should look at the transports as well, because, of course, these are just wonderful. These are Micromaster, individual Micromasters, but with like a larger sort of thing that they tow that transforms. So they're not technically bases. Of course, you've got your boy, Erector. So I don't have him. I really want him as well.
Great toy.
Yeah, this is a really good toy. I mean, obvious puns about the name aside, it's actually a really, really good toy.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I have this toy, but I also have a chromed Erector.
Do you know?
John Nixon,
wow. Special.
A shiny
Johnny
Erector, yeah.
It's quite the admission, that is, Liam.
Yeah. It's great.
Remember, this is a family-friendly podcast here.
No, it's from our good friend John Nixon, I think, or Nathan. It's one of those two. It came from that direction.
Custom.
Yeah. So it's a fully chromed silver.
Fully chromed Erector. Wow.
Shiny Erector.
That's a
I need to go and find it.
Love it, yeah. I want to see that.
Years ago, when I bought, do you remember Toy World Hercules? I bought it off John, and inside it, he slipped a little card of Erector. It's like a little joke. And he said when he'd been to BotCon a couple years before, and he'd taken like hundreds of them and just been leaving them all over the hotel. And I still have it. It's just this little tiny character card of the art of Erector.
That's hilarious.
Being held by MP01.
Then, of course, you've got this guy, which we've already talked about, but this is Overload. Not Overlord, but Overload.
God, that one's in way better condition than mine.
This is the guy. I think I'd use this as a hidden gem. I think in the first hidden gem.
You did.
You did.
Yeah, we've talked about this guy a few times. I think he is a real hidden gem. He's quite unusual, actually. The truck, sort of the actual Micromaster himself, he's not. It doesn't have the sort of flip round legs and things that so many of them do. So he feels quite unusual in that regard. And he's got his little sled thing going on.
Yeah. It's kind of fun, that. I remember being really surprised.
Flash Gordon sled.
Yeah, it totally is a Flash Gordon sled.
It's like a Professor X chair, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, yeah, it's cool.
He's like, Prime's alive.
It's a really cool toy, this, though. And I do like the one, I'll be honest, the one I've got is really quite knackered. It's been well loved. I think it's been chewed by either a small animal or an animal. It does creak.
Yeah.
Bring it around the nose bit onto the sled mode, that just creaks as you bring it around.
The giant metal pins that run through the wings and the side as well, because they used to use those a lot.
Of course.
Creak. But he can store other cars, and I love that they kept that gimmick, because like whenever we get Ultra Magnus now, who's the only car carrier you ever get, he doesn't really often store other cars. Sometimes he does, but other times he doesn't, and it kind of feels like, it's not like an active gimmick.
You can put a good couple of Micromasters in this guy in the trailer, which is really cool. So. Then, of course, I'd quite like you to check out my rough stuff.
Yeah, another one of the greats.
Oh, yeah. I don't own this guy and would love to.
Tremendous.
There's something about that blue and green that is just so amazing, isn't it?
It's the green is just like nothing else, really. I don't think
it's really. Yeah,
is there another Transformer that color?
I don't know. Not specifically. It's very unique, isn't it?
Yeah. Super cool. I really love this one. Honestly, this was one that I didn't know, I'd never handled, and then I got it, and sort of in the latest round of G1 collecting, if you like, and was just really blown away with it. And same with this guy, actually, which is flat top. This is the fourth one.
Yeah, and, one of the greats.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is a really unusual one for me because, of course, it's an aircraft carrier, so you've got that whole thing of like scale, which is always funny because it technically should just be huge versus everything else. But the actual, again, the flat top Micromaster, the little chappy himself, so weird. Like he just feels so unique versus a lot like any of the others. There's nothing else
missile
quite like
arms.
Him. Yeah,
like if you think in fiction, if he shoots one of those missiles off, that means he's like forever one-armed. Like
he's armless.
He's harmless, yeah. But one of the things I love about this is that it's a aircraft carrier that turned into a jet. It's like they just couldn't get away from that.
Yeah,
like if you're doing an aircraft carriers got to turn into a jet. It's the rules.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No.
But that's Transformers for you.
Yeah.
So which of these have you got, Jace, then?
So I've got these ones are a bit odd because I only have Overload out of all these ones.
Really?
Yeah.
You should get Erector, man. As always.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, that's on my list to get because it's a really cool figure as well. I often see those types of vehicles going by on the main road up from my house as well, which is always very exciting.
What, Erectors?
Erectors, exactly. The fact they did this, that Hasbro were like, we're going to make a kind of in-betweeny one as well, which is like these little kind of mini vehicle type things that then become sleds, It's like they were really experimenting. And I love that final one as well with the aircraft carrier.
I think more than ever in Transformers prior to this, it's not really something we've mentioned actually, but there's the feeling of price point, wasn't there? Like, this was before, size classes and all of that jobby was a thing. That didn't come in until Beast Wars. But this has the feeling of size classes to it, doesn't it? Because you get a patrol, you get, the kind of transports, you get the stations, you get the sort of medium-sized base, and then you get the larger bases. And it really feels like it sort of steps up in that progression.
Absolutely.
Which is something I've not really thought of before, but it's quite interesting. So, I mean, then, obviously we do move on to the stations. And, as I say, we've talked about these, but it's just worth acknowledging. I'm curious to see which of these you have, Jason. I mean, this was one of my favorites. This is Hot House.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, so nice. Oh. Do you have this guy?
I do have Hot House. Yes, I do have Hot House. Yes. An unopened Hot House at the moment as well.
Cold House.
Yeah, Cold House. Like, what are we doing here? Are we flipping it over? Are we flipping bits down?
Yeah.
It's
like... It opens up into a
There's a lot of flipping in there. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, it's
flipping
really good.
Yeah, things flipping all over the place. Yeah.
It's great.
Look at these colours, the pink and the blue, like that. And that is so Micro Machines to me. That's that era.
It really is.
The end of the 80s, the start of the 90s. I mean, it's like all toys suddenly became this colour. Everything was like, you started then getting all the color changing Micro Machines and Hot Wheels and Transformers, and they were all this United Colors of Benetton style. Everything was this bright pink and blue, and everything started to get these colors.
Do you know it's the stickers as well though? So, like in the fire station mode, it's got the kind of forced perspective, and I remember that on the Micro Machines where they had like fake grass or sand or whatever, but it had a kind of 3D. I looked at the drawing and artwork and stuff, and they did the same thing here. It's brilliant.
I've always enjoyed the the little hanger with the door.
I was just going to say that.
Absolutely cannot fit. No, house,
totally.
He does not fit.
Crush his wings up and shove it. Yeah, it's not going to work
at all. Yeah,
brilliant. Make his nose in, and that's it.
Only in robot mode, but jet mode could not go in. Look at it.
I didn't realize, because like I said, I've not properly looked at this, but it's got tank treads, so it's a little tanky thing. Isn't
it's a little
it?
tank. It's not just it turns into a tank. Yeah, literally. It's not just like a sort of random base. It's
like base. It's actually
it's mobile.
Like a mobile armor platform.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant. Love it.
Very cool. Just very clever design. Then, of course, you've got your windmill, which is Ironworks.
Yes,
about as close to a perfect Transformers toy as ever.
All green, no shame.
That's true.
So with much glee, I do own this now as well, which I'm really pleased, because when you guys talked about it the other day, I was like, oh, that's cool. I really like that. And I'm like, oh, I've already got it.
Of course you do.
But
I mean, you've got 98% of the Micromasters so far. So
thank you, Andy H. Honestly,
I've only got the bases.
Yeah, oops. Three-pronged windmill, as well. It's an unusual design.
You'd love to have been in that pitch meeting there, wouldn't you? Like, what we can do for kids? Aircraft base that turns into a tank. Then a windmill. I know what
would the
kids
Autobots have? Yeah.
Trips to the windmill for educational purposes. But this time, this one has a ramp and a missile.
Exactly. But that's why he's stuck in his lift, because his windmills there's not enough wind, so he's not got any power to go down anymore. He's trapped until the wind picks up.
I think it's cool that Hot House turns into like a sort of tank thing, but I think it's equally cool that Ironworks, the platform, turns into like a bit of a base. It always felt like actually this would connect to other stuff.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah.
Exactly
it
that.
felt
Does
like
look like
part
it.
of something. Like you could stick this next to Fort Max or Metroplex
Oh,
or
A
something.
modular
totally.
piece
You know?
of something, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of has that Lego feeling. You know, when you get like larger castles and
Yeah.
you like and you build it up over time.
Yeah,
like bits
totally.
of Lego. It's kind of got that feel to it.
So that was the bit that I hadn't made that connection until I had these in hand. The ramps all have the little nubbins on it, so you can connect them together.
Well, yeah,
And-
in their sort of earthen
cool.
modes, if you like, yes, they're absolutely, they all connect up and they connect with the larger bases like Countdown and Skystalker and all that as well. So
that makes you want to get them all. It's like that is genius bit of design because you're like, oh, I could connect
Tell
to
you
this
what,
bit.
the Siege ones they did were also really, really good. Like the Micromasters might not have been so great, but the bases they did,
They
because
were
they had
good.
the robot modes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
you
were
pull them
good.
apart into little modular pieces, but they had both modes plus a robot mode, and they could all connect together as well. I thought that was
No, I did like those, and I appreciated that they did something different with them by including the robot mode. I don't, it's one of those where I don't feel the need for these to have a robot mode, but at the same time, if you're going to redo them, I think it's kind of cool that they did.
Yeah, they were
something.
kind of fun.
Yeah, completely unique.
You couldn't do them again the same. They were never going to do them the same. So what?
No.
Have to add something new, and a robot mode was fun.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. It was they were fun. They were fun. They did a good job with them. Then we have Airwave, which I really like. This guy, this thing is a bugger for finding non-yellowed, though, I will say, or with pristine stickers, because actually where the like the sort of airport stickers, if you like, where they flip over, it sort of scuffs them
or
quite
it rubs
bit.
them.
So
right?
it does. It rubs.
Rubs them the wrong way.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, very
That's
much
great
so.
though. So cool. So cool. Got a little air. Yes,
it's one of my favourites. This.
Yeah, look at him in his little thing waving there.
In his den, little den, hiding.
Yeah, he's air waving. That's what he does.
It's so
in the name, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
Yeah, this is a cool one, definitely.
You can get in his hangar as well.
Air waving.
You just got that, did you, Liam?
Yeah,
catch up. There's a delay.
Yeah. Oh, I was too busy laughing at the toy.
Yeah, it's a funny toy. And then, of course, you got the fourth one, which I think, now I have to say, no disrespect to Ironworks, because I love Ironworks, but objectively, I do think this might be the strongest of the four. This is really, really good. This is Grease Pit.
Yeah, I would agree.
This is the one that most looks like a Micro Machines thing.
It does.
Yes.
This is
It
the
really
one that
does.
I opened. This is the one that I took out before Countdown, actually. I took this out because I was like, this absolutely was Micro Machine vibes through and through.
Yeah.
And you know, what's this? It's about like kind of, I'm going to do it in Imperial now, but kind of 3 inches square, maybe the size of it. You know, they're nice and compact, right?
Are you doing maths again?
I'm doing maths again. I'm doing dimensions now. But
God.
but I
added a new dimension to the podcast, didn't it?
when I started flipping stuff out and was like, hang on, what's it doing? And this doing this, and then this bit, and there was all these. It's so cool, like so many little weapons.
It's like Micro Machines, but if Micro Machines flipped out into some sort of battle platform with missiles and things like
and
that.
a radar dish, and it was.
I love
so
the
good.
missile rack down there.
Yeah,
that sort
me
of
too.
slides up like that with multiple missiles. It's just cool.
Look how many
really
rockets he's got going on, though. It's like he's proper. He's ready, that guy, you know?
These also really remind me of the Mask, like split seconds things where you had like the oil sign that transformed into
That's
a
so true.
polygon.
So true.
I actually do remember that.
Up. It feel really, again, it's very of a time where you could have sort of normal looking things convert into a battle thing and it would make for a toy. Whereas now, it's not as interesting to kids, I guess, is it?
Yeah,
totally.
It's true, actually. Yeah, the idea of like a gas station, a petrol station, or whatever toy now is sort of a bit lost to time, isn't it? In a weird way, I don't know.
But then it's flip it back. They had a windmill, so you know, it's future looking. You know, so
true.
It's a whole history lesson, and future lesson going on.
Kids back then, we used to go to windmills for educational visits. Yeah,
exactly. So true.
Moving up a step, then, and this is where you're into kind of proper bases. These are the Micromaster bases now, and I think they are all kind of lumped together, these 4, but in my mind, there's 2 and 2, because you've got these sort of smaller 2 and then the others. And this is Ground Shaker, first of all. And I really love this one. Really love this one.
One of my all-time favorite Transformers as a kid.
Absolutely
I
beautiful.
adore this toy. To this day, I absolutely adore it.
Yeah.
It's just got a really nice feel, the way it all clicks together.
So nice. It kind of really kadunks, doesn't it, into its vehicle mode, and it's just so beautiful.
That's really nice. I need to get this.
I did. Well, I didn't ask you, Jason. On the previous 4 on the stations, which of those? So, how many of those do you have?
All of them. So I got all those.
Don't disappoint, do you?
Yeah.
Are you keeping score?
I am.
Look at him looking it down. Is he doing it? He's tallying it up.
I'm writing it down, man. We're at 27 out of 32 Micromasters now. He let the side down a little bit on the transports, but
I did.
Bases, stations rather. We're right back up there again. Good. So, do you have this guy, Ground Shaker?
No. So I can cut to the chase here. I've only got one of the big bases, which is Countdown.
Countdown. Yeah. Oh, do my maths then.
Yeah.
One of the things with Ground Shaker that I've always been confused about is that yellow square panel that he has that he stands on.
Yeah.
But it only exists for him to stand on there. It's like, why didn't they just sculpt it?
Does it move or
That's
anything?
true.
Or
it stays in there.
It stays. Yeah.
Oh, is it just to give him a bit of height? For his gun?
But I mean, it's like, but why is it a separate piece and it's yellow? It feels like it's supposed to do something.
Yeah. Feels like it should have functionality, but it just doesn't.
Yeah. It's like, look, I'm a separate piece. Why?
Yeah, that is really unusual.
There's a Action Man kind of vibe for the vehicle for me. I had an APC as a kid, and that slotting that big hole in the top with the massive gun as well. It's just like, and it's an Autobot, right? And it's just like there's nothing friend about this guy. He's gonna crush you.
No, he's pretty mean, isn't he?
Yeah.
The fact that as well, it's a repaint. The actual Micromaster himself is a repaint of a Decepticon. But in kind of green military colours. There's really nothing friend-shaped about him at all.
Not at all. No, totally.
Yeah. What's fascinating about this toy to me is that I semi-recently acquired the Japanese versions of this and the next one that we're going to look at. And it's really wild because I've got a comparison. I posted it online at the time, but basically the ATV comes with a different Micromaster, first of all, completely different toy. But the Landshaker, the Takara version, is sort of the same colours, but also not. It's just slightly off. And honestly, you would have to have them in hand to actually perceive that these are not the same toy. But beyond that, the stickers are different. So it's just wild that Takara just did a completely different set of stickers.
Wow.
Completely different, not just like a different colour. So it's just weird little choices like that where you just can't help but think, why did you do this? Why did you make it so similar? And yet, just at that final hurdle, you were like, let's change some,
Yeah.
That's a lot of the Micromasters, though, isn't it? It's just like slight tweaks here and there or different stickers. And you're like, but why? It's like, it's cool. I'd love to know why.
Yeah. It's really, really odd. Really odd. But yes, this one is great fun.
That's cool. This toy.
Then we have another banger. And Jason, you've got to get this one, mate. You've got to get this one. Look at this.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, look at that base.
This is Skyhopper.
Yes. So I've been keeping my eye on this as well, but finding one that isn't in terrible condition is really quite hard at the moment.
Santiago Jones, Gareth's consolation prize.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, Fort Max colouring competition.
The Fort Max competition, yeah.
That's a pretty good it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not Fort
Not
Max.
for him.
But yeah.
He's still bitter about that, isn't he?
I was going to say, ask him if he's over it. Yeah.
No, he's not.
I know he's not. Bless him.
Oh, it's great. It's both modes. Look at that helicopter.
It's such a great
cool.
Yeah. And again, you imagine this plugged into all of the other bases and stuff, and it just really takes on a life of its own.
Again, it's like I expect this, just in that helicopter mode, I expect it to have some kind of button that I would push in that would make the propeller spin, and that would just be the toy, right? But the fact this is a transformer, it's such a cool design, and really, again, going even more greebly on this as well. It's got sled kind of landing gear going on that's condensed down. Oh, it's great.
It's got little panels that fold out of the back that I always just feel like they didn't need to add them, but it's fun that they did.
Yeah, completely agree. Then we come to the penultimate act.
The big guys.
Well, the two big guys. This is top tier Transformers for me. This is Skystalker, and it's just about as beautiful as things get. Honestly, this is just
Look at all the parts.
Beautiful.
Christmas 1989 or 1990. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember the Christmas, and I remember opening this and being so happy because it's such a great toy, man.
Wow.
It is just stunning, honestly. There's a slight, I think we said maybe when we talked about it before, but there's a slight bus stop feeling to the base mode. I don't know why.
Bus shelter.
Like a little bus shelter, yeah. But that aside, super cool. Love that it's got the little smaller shuttle as well that kind of pegs on top of the other one. Just so much play value.
This one out of all of them gives me the most G.I. Joe vibes.
I could see that.
I feel, and in a really good way. Just looking at that, like the mini little kind of space vehicle type thing, and the fact it doesn't have that cockpit and it's open. It looks like, I know this is small, but it looks like it could take a standard G.I. Joe figure in there. Again, an absolute need and want for
the only thing with this one. The only thing with it is that it's quite fragile, unfortunately.
Oh,
so,
really?
I forget exactly what it is now. We talked about it in the mini-sode that we did on our Patreon. But there's an issue when...
I think it's with the wings, isn't it?
It's with the wings. Yeah, I think it's with the wings when you fold them up. There's a sort of stress point, and they can break. They can break, unfortunately. So you just want to be careful with, but still a gorgeous toy.
It's like the nature of this era of toys, isn't it? And just the fact, like you were saying earlier, Liam, that they have these massive metal pins that are generally rusted as well.
Yeah.
And as soon as that starts happening, then it just starts causing all
Game over,
problems.
man. Game over.
I know. Lovely though. And is it a recolor on the actual figure as well?
No,
so
this is actually yes. So I said that they were all recolors, but actually the two larger ones have unique molds. These two, this and Countdown, obviously, are unique molds. Although this was recolored as Rabby Crater, which was a pack-in for a VHS under Takara, very hard to find now. And it's like that single Micromaster will cost you like multiple hundreds now, which is absolutely insane.
Wow.
But yeah, it was recolored in blue, which is really nice. But it was a unique mold for under the Hasbro line anyway. So which is fun to see. Although actually did come with Metro Titan as well. The same mold came with Metro Titan. A Teleline, but again, Takara. So, and then of course we come to the pièce de résistance, and this, my friends, is Countdown. But you both know this toy anyway. So.
God, look at that final image of all the fun going on there.
My third favorite of the four.
What? Is that right?
Yeah,
your third
Shaker and Skystalker are
what?
My two of my toppest tier Transformers.
What?
Skyhopper, he's less so. But the Countdown is great, but Skystalker and Ground Shaker. I think it's because those two I had as a kid. So coming to Countdown later, like, it's great, but I don't quite have the same connection to it. I love it.
I need to reevaluate everything I thought I knew about you now, Liam.
Reconsider friendships.
Yeah.
So it's funny because for me, Countdown would have been the one I would have chosen in the shop if I'd gone, because it is like space. It's a base station. It's everything. As I said earlier, it goes into the kind of Lego thing. It goes into that NASA Matchbox toys I showed you earlier. All that kind of stuff. So it hits all those feels. But when I started playing with this set, this concreted Micromasters as like the line, like I said earlier, that I would keep. Out of everything.
This, to me, is not just the best Micromaster base, it's the best Transformers base. Like, there's nothing that holds a candle to this, in my opinion.
So good.
It's just so next level. And it's, all right, it doesn't have to transform into a robot or anything like that, but still, it's sort of, it shows up a lot of Transformers base modes for what they are in many ways, because it's so purpose built, it's so purpose designed, and it just does everything right. It's got interactivity, it's got tons of features, it's got, you can place guns all over the place and kind of move stuff around. It's got little peg points and things like this. There's just a lot to discover on it as well, like a lot of detail. So it's got all the kind of hallmarks of your really great 1980s play sets, in that regard. I think it's just incredible.
It's the only one that feels like an actual base, I think. Like a proper base for your Transformers to inhabit your toys. It's a proper play set. Like, whereas Metroplex looks like a small city, but in terms of actually playing with your toys with it, it's like, there's not really
it doesn't work.
many places for them to go. Whereas here, you can play with them and interact with the base and imagine they are existing inside of it. It's a spectacular toy. It is by far the best actual base, and it is probably the best Transformers playset, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, pushing like one of the images there shows one of the vehicles just at the top of that really long ramp that sits at the back right, and just pushing it off there, and then it's going to zoom off.
Yeah.
What I would love is to have the available space so that I could get like a kind of a wooden glass coffee table to have this in base mode underneath, so you could still get in and like put stuff on it and play with it. And there's so few, normally my Transformers are in, except for the Binotechs, they're in their robot mode more often than not, because of that save space, right? They stand up. But this one deserves to be in this space station mode, covered in all of the Micromasters.
It does. It's a space eater, though,
So look at the way the helipad goes into the rocket, the way the rocket door flips down. So
that's so platform. Cool. Yeah.
But the ramps as well, they all, with the arrows on, they all play into the idea that you are supposed to let the cars roll down and they zoom off, because that's what all like Hot Wheels playsets and Micro Machines, all of the car playsets, toy cars. The idea was, as a kid, you drop them off things so they shoot forward and roll. And so that play pattern is built in here with these ramps, and that's why they're all at quite a reasonably steep angle and have the arrows and stuff, because it's still going. It's still a toy, so roll your cars off of it.
Yeah,
you're not there just for aesthetic purposes.
So true.
There's a reason. Robots can walk up and down them. No, they're still there to be played with.
And look at all the stickers and all that. I remember being fascinated when I opened it up, and I was like, all these stickers that have got all this kind of like Teletran 1 style detail on
so
it.
Cool.
It's brilliant. Brilliant.
Cool.
It's really unique in the way it extends forward as well, lengthways.
It really does.
Out.
Yeah,
Practically every other base mode goes sideways. They sort of extend out and bulk up. This just kind of comes towards you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really long, and it's just real.
It's so tall as well in its other configuration. It's sort of like vehicle configuration. I mean, that's how I have mine in display, just because I don't have the shelf space, if you like, to have it in this base mode.
Yeah, totally.
But it's as tall as Overlord, G1 Overlord. Which is incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah,
taller than like Star Saber and Diatlas and all of the kind of like those level of big toys, which is really, really mad to see. There are two things though that I wanted to mention about this, which are little bits that are maybe not often known or thought about or whatever. The one, actually, this first one, people do know this. It's not like nobody knows, but it's a fun one because sometimes a lot of people don't realize this. Yeah, facts. 6 facts. Here we go. Hashtag Faxo. Sure, why not? This makes me sound like
gravy.
Fax me things. Yeah, I don't know.
Like
right.
Faxo gravy.
Yeah, sure. Mix. Why not? So this is the first one, which is that the little ramp that you talked about, Jason, which is part of the base mode, actually can be used in this kind of shuttle mode as well, because it's just like this little black ramp, and I didn't know this for years, and I don't think a lot of people do know this, but it's designed to do this, plugs into the side of the shuttle tower mode, if you like. And it's the gantry, it's like a little walkway that goes from the elevator, the little lift, when that goes all the way up, to allow the figures to walk around to the rocket.
Wait,
and very clever
knows
design.
This, surely that's like one of the
you'd be surprised.
Appealing things about the toys. That's where it goes, and it's the gantry for it to wander around.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people definitely don't know this, and I only know that because I didn't know it, right? And I was like mind blown when I discovered this. And then when I shared it online, a lot of people were like, "Wait, what?" Do you know what I mean? Like it was like one of those.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not in the instructions.
It's not in the instructions
because I remember chatting to you about it when I got mine, and I was mucking around with it, and then you'd mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is like
it's not in the instructions, which is why it went missed."
But what else would it be for? Why would the elevator go up there? Like Are they like lemons just committing suicide?
Yeah, just
lifting
hanging
it up to the
out. I
top?
don't know.
You know, but that's it,
Just
Liam.
getting a view.
People don't have your dedication to working this stuff out, right?
Yeah, exactly,
They need to be
Liam.
told.
Oh,
Wait.
okay.
He's incredulous now.
Yeah,
I'm sure we've had this conversation before. We'll have to
Maybe
go
we
back
did,
and listen
yeah.
to that mini-sode, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But honestly, there will always be someone that's like, oh, I thought everybody knew this, Liam. But but I guarantee you people didn't.
that guy.
But this is like going,
everyone know?
Metroplex's ramp pulls out or something.
No,
You know,
it's not that
like
level.
an obvious part. Like,
No. It's fair. It's not in the instructions, so people don't always know, I guarantee you. So but
it must be in all the pictures, isn't it?
it's in a lot of them, like in the wiki pictures and stuff. You can see it's there on the wiki picture. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Where's the countdown box? Okay, I'm on it. I'm on it now.
You're looking now, are you?
Oh God, here we
This
go.
is where I'm starting to doubt and like, oh God, maybe it is in the instructions.
Oh
Hang on.
God, old fat
Hang
box
on.
checkbox. Honestly, it's...
I'm not having this as some kind of hidden. Oh no, Sixo. You should be glad I looked at the box.
it's not on the box. It's not on the box. I don't think.
Not on the box.
Yeah, I'm sure. I remember it being a thing because it wasn't on the box, wasn't on the instructions, and a
It's
lot of people
on-
didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's on the photo on the side. There's a picture. There's a couple of pictures of the rocket base, but they're from the back, so it's from
Right.
the opposite side. So if you look, you can see it poking out just. But
You might miss it.
yeah, I don't know if it's on the back. I can't find a picture.
I mean,
of the
don't get me
back,
wrong. It's absolutely, once you see it, it's obvious. It's like, of course it's supposed to go there. It's completely obvious. But it was a new one on me, let's put it that way. But the really cool thing, and I don't have a picture of it, but the really, really cool thing, which was a discovery that our mate Fancy Dan made, actually. Do you know what I'm going to say about this one? Liam, do you know this one?
Which one is it? The Galaxy Shuttle thing?
Well, okay, so there's Galaxy Shuttle, actually, which we should talk about. But no, it's the fact that the little, inside the base, there's the little kind of computer console area, which in the last photo here, you can see Fix-It is like sort of standing in. And in that little sort of recessed area in the dark grey plastic, it's the exact right size to fit the little... The motivator guys, the Brain Masters, that come with like Star Saber and all of that.
I remember chatting at TFN about this.
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
Clearly intentional. There is no doubt it's intentional because they are a perfect fit and they just sit at the like computer console. Basically, when you fold the legs and just plonk them in, they are the perfect size and. It's absolutely intentional. There's no question. But again, no mention in the instructions or anything.
Yeah.
But that would make sense because the Brain Masters were after this, weren't they?
Well, they were. Yeah, that's the thing. So, I mean,
they would have designed it that way around. So, because the Brain Masters would have been Takara, wouldn't they? And in Victory, in the cartoon, they pair them with the rocket base.
Exactly.
So I'm assuming when they made the Brain Masters, they went, we'll fit these in somewhere.
It's a bit chicken and egg, though, because Star Saber and the Brain Masters, that was 1989.
Yeah, but once Countdowns...
And Countdown is 89.
Yeah.
But you didn't get this. I think this base was the year after in Takara.
Yeah, so this came first from Hasbro. So maybe they were being designed at the same time.
They must have been. They must have been.
So with this, this would fit... So my Leo Kaiser, it would take those guys.
No,
or would it take
the different design?
That's the breast force, Jason.
Yeah, of course, breast force.
Yeah.
So we're talking motivators.
The titty guys.
Titty gang.
Yeah, we're talking motivators then, are we?
Motivators, yeah.
Yeah. So that of course. So that's why when I talked to Dan about it, so he mentioned this, and I was like, "What?" And then when Chris was selling his motivator, I'm like, "Well,"
and you were talking about breasts.
Yeah, well, always.
Dan's just looking at you like, all right, mate.
Like, all right, what's going on?
Jason just talking about breasts again. God.
It's an old breast force.
A force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Force. Yes.
Or chest force, as they're now called.
That's
chest
it.
force.
A force to be breasted with.
Yeah. Someone pointed out that, and I thought this was funny, that you could have just had, because obviously they've done the new Kaiser and everything, that you could have called it Beast Force. Because they're all beasts, and actually that would have been one letter away, and that would be better than
remove
chest
the R.
Force.
Yeah.
But there's some copywriter or someone at Hasbro that's now like, oh, damn it. Do you know what
Oh, no.
Hey ho.
Brilliant.
So, yeah. So, and then, of course, you are right, Liam, that yes, this thing also crosses over with Victory Shuttle as well. Galaxy Shuttle.
I think
It's
going
one of the
down that
most
rabbit
fantastic things. It's one of the things that really sold me on wanting a Galaxy Shuttle at some point, because I wanted it when I first saw it, and then when I saw the photos of Galaxy Shuttle on top of the countdown base, the rocket base, I was like that, because I'm a big space guy. I love obviously NASA and those sort of things and space vehicles, and so that was just like over the top. And
yeah.
when I bought the KO Galaxy Shuttle from Dogatron, it was the very first thing I did was take photos of the two combined, because it was even though it's a silly thing to just be like desperate to tip a shuttle upside down or on its side and put it on a thing. It's like I just really wanted to be able to do that. And the first time I did it, it did not disappoint. It's such a cool thing. But the gantry doesn't fit round it like that. But that's interesting. It's fantastic, man. It's such I love Takara and the genius compatibility.
Just adding, isn't it? That layer of But that's what this. That's, as I said earlier, that's what this line is that you get a set of like race car patrol, but then you kind of like, but if I get that little station over there, then they can zoom around that with this guy, and then I can get this thing, and it can land on that thing, and it's just you keep adding to it, and it's
escalates.
So cool, like, but really, really fun. It is like the perfect toy.
Well, Jason, I mean, you say, of course, you just get all of them and whatever else. Did you know you've actually got 28 out of 36 of these toys? You know, so that is
that's pretty good, isn't it?
That is a pretty impressive 77% of this 1989 Micromaster range. So, having started with saying, I've just got a couple of the bases, it's
got a few more.
Three quarters of the lineup.
That's it.
I've dropped a quick picture in of him and the countdown base.
Oh, Liam.
Look how he goes.
Stunning.
That's so
stunning
cool.
picture.
That is lovely.
That's a really nice picture.
That's cool. That's really
look
cool.
How well he goes on that base, man. It's just, you put that together and it's just like, man, it's such a shame we didn't get Galaxy Shuttle and they weren't all over that. You know, like if I'd seen that as an advert as a kid, my eyes would have just lit up entirely.
That's amazing.
Like, I have to do that.
Just tempting me with that moon diorama as well, Liam.
Yeah, it's really nice. That's a cool image, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely good.
But all the little Micromasters on there. But this is
gorgeous.
This is what makes the Micromasters, I think, special beyond any other Transformers. It's because these were the first that really lent into the play with them with bases and interact, with the scale and stuff like that. Like, more than any other had, because obviously the Diaclone eras are all different sizes and they weren't designed for that in the way that Transformers put together. And then the Headmasters and stuff had little figures, but that was it. These are the first ones where it's like really everything's designed to interact with each other in this way.
It did feel like, we said it earlier, but like that kind of reset in a way, didn't it? It just felt like something very fresh and just incredible toys. I'm actually quite excited to look at the next year of Micromasters as well at some point, the 1990 stuff, because to me that was less familiar from childhood, so kind of coming back and discovering it later, there was some real gems in there, like your Battlefield headquarters and that kind of stuff. Just some real like, what is this? Just so cool. So I look forward to that.
It's really strange because when you look at these toys and they're so small, and it's like, but it felt like your world got bigger.
That's true, actually. Yeah,
even though the toys got smaller, because it's suddenly like with all these different toys that can interact with bases and stuff. Your imagination expands with them, and you look at them and it's like, oh, there's a world here of toys. Whereas when you've just got like the 84 cars, it's like it's great. It's just a lot of toys together versus interacting and it
bunch of cars.
A world.
So true.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cool. Yeah. So there you go. It's Micromasters. Have to get on it, Jason.
Are we at the end?
Yeah, we're at the end. That's it.
It's not fair.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole other year to do later.
Woo.
Yeah.
But I've got a few to finish.
You do.
I'll do one. Maybe a few more than that.
Well, that's going to about do it for Micromasters, sadly. There will be more, Liam. Don't worry, we will be back for another round eventually. So it's funny because I thought this might be quite a micro episode as well, but it's
never with us.
A
Not
big
talking
chat.
about
Double the
it.
length.
Yeah, exactly. It's always plenty to say, isn't there, buggers?
I bet this is an enabling one for people that are listening, though, because
I think so. I think Micromasters as well are kind of one of those lines or subgroups or whatever that are quite easy to put to one side. It's almost like if you're collecting G1, it's like, I'll get to them eventually. But because they're sort of so separate to all the sort of regular size stuff, you can sort of put them off to one side as like a whole big lot by themselves, can't you? It's like, you don't want to start because then you know that it's like a whole rabbit hole. You know?
It is. It's just one little bite. That's all it takes. But also, they're probably the last bit of G1 that's still relatively cheap to pick up.
That's true.
Like, there are expensive ones, but by and large, you can pick up most of them for nothing, really. Like I still see, like, occasionally sealed sets on eBay and stuff, and it's like 25 quid, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
how?
totally. It's true.
And it's like the last bit of G1 where that exists now.
I just think they're just perfect. Honestly, perfect toys, and again, not really been bettered since. Honestly,
100% right. It is the perfect toy because it's small, simple, cheap. It's affordable, but they're so simple, but they look great. It's just they do everything they are expected to do, and they do it better than they ever should.
They just deliver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But so pretty long episode for us. But if you do want to get more conversation like this, more chat, then we do have a Patreon as well, don't we, chaps? Which is pretty exciting, fair to say. Some might say, pop in. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
Has been recently. There's been a lot of birthday shout-outs recently.
Been a few birthdays on the old Discord.
It was yours, wasn't it?
It was my birthday.
I saw the thread.
Yeah.
Like 700 happy birthday, Sixo.
There were a few. That was nice. Yeah.
Is it his birthday?
Yeah. An extra special video from Bobby Allen as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I only discovered that yesterday.
I
was like, as I was scrolling up through the thread, and then I sort of saw it, and then it started, and I was like, where's he going? Oh,
it was so good. Yeah. Let's just say he went back, he revisited a previous episode of Sixo handling his hot rod.
Yeah. We'll leave it there, shall we? I think
we shall.
Yeah.
Join the Patreon to find out
more.
Exactly.
I don't know what tier
will never
that
look
is.
at Rodimus Prime toy again.
It was something. But yes, do come and join us on our Patreon for this kind of pants. And we've got lots of stuff on there. We've got lots of Patreon exclusive material, minisodes, mini-series, all of that kind of clobber, a Discord, whatever else. And it's been great fun recently, really great fun. I think my favourite thing from the Discord recently there was some suggestion of like a sort of shattered glass version of Triple Takeover or whatever, wasn't there, with like different names? And someone said that we could have, I can't remember what the other two names were for me and Liam, but they suggested that you could be called Mason. And then I pointed out that actually that's just like, there already is a famous podcaster called Mason from the Weekly Planet podcast. And it just occurred to me that they've got Mason and we've got Jason, and it's like that sort of Shaun of the Dead thing of like the alternate team of like
overlap. I know.
What's
old
here?
Mason Rongovan.
Exactly.
Mine was Lima. I remember that.
Oh, was it Lima?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
very good.
I can't remember what mine was.
What happens if I meet Mason?
I don't think anybody could handle the vibes.
Yeah, too many vibes.
Too many vibes.
Vibe overload.
Just exactly. Just a sort of cataclysmic vibe-a-thon. I don't know.
The Vibesons.
Yeah. Too many vibes. But yes, we do have a Patreon. And another perk of the Patreon is that people can ask us questions. Isn't that right, Jason?
It is indeed, yeah. We've got one question tonight from Josh Bell, who's been with us for a good chunk of time. Thank you, Josh.
He's a long-term patron.
He is. Lovely guy. Always very active on there as well. So his question to us is, what character do you think, pound for pound, has consistently had the best toys? Optimus seems like the obvious choice, but he's had an awful lot of dreck over the years. My choice is Sandstorm. Thanks, Josh.
I mean, the only thing with this question is that you could surely just choose a character that's only had one toy.
Maybe he's implying you need to choose more
multiple toys.
Consistently had the best toys. So
because I could say Slapdash, right? Like G1 Slapdash. 100% amazing toys.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, there's only
Turbo
one of
Master
them.
Boss.
Yeah, exactly. Just a great run of toys. Really, really good.
Oh, Turbo Master.
I'm going to go straight in with my answer, which is Soundwave. So I'm finding the sound waves that I've got, and I've even got like the music one, whatever it's called, the the little MP3 player one, which is basically Soundwave. But even going to like I'm trying to think of one that isn't so great, but I like between animated and Wars for Cybertron and all these different variations.
Yeah,
I've always
like the
found
Galaxy Force one is cool.
Yeah,
the Fall of Cybertron Voyager was pretty fun with the shooting
time to turn. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's consistently and slightly reinvented, to a certain extent, as much as Soundwave is.
The Reactivate one as well. I sold that to one of our patrons.
I don't have that
360
one.
Matt, but I kind of would like to get that again. That was really good.
Yeah, it's not easy to get now. I've been looking.
No,
yeah, totally. Yeah. Sixo's looking around his robot room. So
I'm like, looking for inspiration.
Liam, what are you thinking?
Oh, I've got mine. I'm going to go with. So it was quite tight. I was going to say Triptychon, but that feels like cheating because the big toy feels like the little toy but bigger. But I'm going to be cheeky and go with Black Shadow because he's only had 3 toys. All 3 are absolutely excellent.
Yeah, true. That's fair. All right. Yeah,
that's a fair one.
That's an answer. Yeah.
That's funny because I nearly said Brainstorm for a similar reason. He's had the 2 generations toys, both of which are really good. He's had the classic toys, the 87 toys, top tier for me. Just so absolutely good. Incredible toy. Sandstorm is a good answer actually as well. Like a Sandstorm, I often think of Sandstorm toys. The Thrilling 30 is amazing. Yeah, the original is amazing. I think Unicron, weirdly, would be a good shout as well. Like
hang on, I've got the which one is it? The Cybertron Unicron, is it? The one where he's some kind of
little
weird
deluxe sort of weird hover tank.
Oh,
that's
weird
true.
janky tank.
That's
version.
a weird one. Yeah, that's
a weird one.
And then there's the one we should do, the Transformers Prime Unicron, the Japanese one, and he turns into like a volcano thing. Have you seen that?
Yeah, we talked about that before. It's so ridiculous.
Uni that guy.
What about Springer? Springer's
really good toys.
Yeah.
The T-31 was great.
Scorponok. Scorponok's had some good toys.
Yeah.
That's had some. Because you've even got things like Energon Megazarek and things like that.
Yeah,
as well.
totally. And even a new, I'm going to call it Play School, but it's not Play School, is it? But that new, it's not Scorponok.
The new one. Yeah, no, the Cyber World or whatever it's called. The
one based on the
Cyber
advert.
Town.
Yeah.
Cyberville.
What's
it called?
It must be Cyberville. That sounds good.
Cyberville.
Yeah.
Cyberchester.
And if it's not, you can have that Hasbro. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cyberton Forest.
Yes. That works. Yeah.
Cyberhome Hotspurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on, we're getting into football now. I'm confused.
Cybertron Wednesdays. Let's not get into football again.
Let's not do that. Thanks, Josh. That was excellent. Who knew that would start such a profound conversation?
Yes, indeed. Nearly veered us down a dangerous path.
Next, good choices. So Soundwave, Black Shadow, and Unicron. Was that you? Was that your pick?
I said
that was his
about
pick.
5 Transformers. So
yeah.
Brainstorm. I'll go Brainstorm.
Yeah,
okay. Good check. Nice.
Yeah, very good. So that is another perk of our Patreon. Do get on there. We should mention as well, we do also have a sponsor for the evening. That is tfsource.com. Do go and check them out for all your Transformers needs, as always. And otherwise, we will return to this well of the micro, for more Micromasters. And we will do the kind of flip side of this episode as well, the other 1989 stuff, all the Pretenders and all of that kind of jazz. We'll come back for that another time. Quite literally all of that jazz, actually.
Yes, exactly.
Classic.
Yes.
Classic.
It's a bit classic, isn't it? It's all a bit
Indeed.
classic
Very
jazz.
Nice. Yeah.
So we will come back for that.
Nice.
Another time. Nice.
Nice.
Smooth. I'm sure it will be. So look forward to that. And otherwise, you can catch us for the next episode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Oh,